on the whole deal. At the first, may I come down here?
Yeah,
Man,
we're going live now.
all right.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk, people.
Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're listening from around the world in the Eastern Caribbean. This is Make We Talk. This evening, our special guest is going to be opposition's junior spokesperson on foreign affairs and the foreign trade, Mr. Christopher Henry. We're waiting his arrival. We have with us our good friend, attorney at law, retired FBI agent, the man from Waterhouse, talk show host, Wilfred Rattigan. Mr. Rattigan, good evening to you, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, all Waterhouse hearing you.
Yeah, man. Good evening to you and your listening audience. I'm just waiting for Mr. Henry to join us. Should be an interesting discussion.
It's going to be an interesting discussion. Our good friend Luke George Cook will be joining us also. So we're going to have a very good, interesting conversation this afternoon. Mr. Rattigan, but based on what is going on in Jamaica today, man, I mean, so many have Zozo all over the place, and yet people dying left, right, and center.
Yeah, it just goes to show that, as we've said many times before, those are not effective crime fighting measures. Those and states of emergency, they're not. And so there's not, I mean, we've beaten that topic to death. There's not much more we can say than hoping every single time that they'll come up with something that's workable, as opposed to going back to these unconstitutional, at least in the instance of states of emergency. They're unconstitutional. Zozo is a little bit different. But states of emergency, they are unconstitutional. And we can only hope that they'll come up with some plan that will effectively fight the scourge of crime, as opposed to just going back to the same old unworkable, unconstitutional plans. So that's where we are.
Wow. What do you think about that letter, that press release that came out? Maybe I should wait until the good gentleman come on.
No, let him come and defend himself, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, let us talk about what is going on in the sense of let's say crime is down. And our prime minister is in Europe lobbying for, I see we're here lobbying until the French government decide to hand over how much $1 million to Haiti. And I'm trying to figure out, I hope you remember that Jamaica has a crime problem, not only Haiti alone.
Look, this prime minister here is, I don't know, it's getting clearer with each passing day that he's not in touch. He's not in contact with the people and the issues. And his priorities are all, I don't know. They're not in sync with what the Jamaican people are looking for. They're not in sync with what they're, and you can go back and look at Don Anderson's poll as to what the number one concern of the Jamaican people, and that is crime.
Crime and violence, yes.
Yes, that's the number one. I think 47% of the people polled said that that's their number one. Number one. Corruption, I think, was like tied like number 3 or somewhere down there, 3 or 4. But I don't know who's advising him, or if anybody's advising him. Maybe they are, but he's not listening. I don't know. But he's got a lot of problems, and apparently he doesn't. And I say apparently because I don't know this as a fact, but it just strikes me as common sense that with everything that's going on, you need to come up with a plan. The funny thing is, he came up with a plan already, and he came up with another plan, another plan. All the plans, they just don't seem to work. So I don't know what else. I don't know what else is there for him to do. You know, people are calling for his resignation. I too will join the chorus and say, yeah, it's time for him to go. And
I have been calling for it from what he killed Philip and Philip dead.
Well, you know, I don't know. It's. I mean, we talk about this all the time on these shows. You know, what should be done, what is being done, who should be in charge, what leadership is about, and it to some degree kind of get old. But we can't stop beat the message, and we can't stop beating that drum, because otherwise we will become like a 9-day wonder. So
True.
we have to keep beating it so that people will understand, especially the people who are mostly greatly affected, people living in Jamaica. You know, so we need to keep hammering the message home to them so that they don't forget. You know, when those gifts start coming in, like around, you know, just before the election, we need to let them know that no, they can take the gift, but just remember what you've suffered, what you've endured over the past 3 or 4 years. Just remember that.
As you talk about election, did you see a report in the Gleaner where former Minister of National Security and former Minister of Transport, Robert Bobby Montague, is saying that the National Integrity Commission is held bent on bringing him down? Did you see that?
Yeah. That's
What are your views on that?
Look, it sounds to me like he's getting information out of the Integrity Commission, which is troubling, because because that is supposed to be an airtight organization where they can't even speak about somebody being investigated until the investigation is tabled. So for him to have that information, I don't know if he's just surmising or if it's rumor or somebody within the organization leaked it to him. I don't know, but it sounds to me like he's worried, and it sounds to me like he's been worried for quite some time now, because if you remember, not too long ago in Parliament, he was saying that there was preferential treatment given to the former Minister of National Security, Peter Bunting.
Yes.
Right, and he was saying that, look, I'm this basically the same things that he did in terms of signing off on pistol or weapon gun permits. He said, I basically did the same thing. I was advised by a board, and I looked at the facts, and I followed the law, and I did exactly what was required of me. Peter Bunting did the same thing, but yet he's declared to be, you know, within the zone. I was going to say zone of operation, but within the zone of good conduct. And here it is that people are raising hell. They're raising Cain about what I did, and essentially we did the same thing. So he's concerned about the Integrity Commission and the way it's going about its business, particularly looking at him. So I don't know. I mean, maybe he's getting it from somebody within. Maybe it's just a rumor. Maybe it's just a feeling. I don't know. But he hasn't said, and it's hard for us to speculate where that information is coming from.
There is the goodly gentleman.
Hello, hi Jeffrey. I'm going to say tonight, Mr. Rattigan.
You're not going to say Godfather, eh?
No, not going to say Godfather tonight.
This evening we have with us opposition junior spokesperson on foreign affairs and foreign trade, Christopher Henry. Mr. Henry, and I know you have a background noise there.
Because I'm actually out. I stepped away from a meeting just to be with you, gentlemen, for a little while,
Yeah.
and then step back in. So I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible.
Okay. What I want to ask you though, that press release that went out about the diplomatic war between America and Jamaica. Yeah, it had your name on it.
It had my name on it, but it didn't originate from me or the People's National Party.
That is not very troubling, sir.
It is extremely troubling because it indicates that there are people out there, and I am going to say it from the other side. There are people out there who will stoop as low to issue releases that not no go so, to use our Jamaican parlance.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite scary too. Quite scary. Quite scary.
Wilfred Rattigan.
Because even the language don't sound like me because I'd never write something like that.
But what is troubling me though, Mr. Henry, is that your name and telephone number was on it.
Yes, and the telephone number hasn't stopped ringing since. And I just have to tell concerned comrades and friends that look here, I didn't put out anything like that.
So why
Didn't
is it
put out.
that the People's National Party, gonna let Wilfred Rattigan come in next. Why is it the People's National Party did not at that time when they see it, put out a press release, so we have nothing to do with this?
Well, I can speak for the PNP in that regard. I knew that a piece came out in one of our news outlets, Loop News,
Yeah, Loop
where
News.
the general secretary indicated that it is fake and it didn't originate from the People's National Party.
Wilfred Rattigan.
Yeah. Chris, welcome. But
Thank you.
let me just let everybody know in the spirit of full disclosure that Christopher is my godson. So, but I won't take it easy on him, you know.
No, I'm not going to take it easy. You didn't take it easy on my father, so I don't expect you to take it easy on me.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, Christopher. Now that this thing, just to follow up on Jeffrey's question about why didn't the PNP come out sooner about that? You say you can't really talk about that. What are you doing, or what have you done aside from what the PNP is doing or has done? What are you doing to kind of like clear your name?
Well, I have stated I've been keeping quiet. I've been keeping silent. Today, we started an investigation. That is as far as we're going to go. Started our investigation into the origin of the release, and we're just going to see what happens from there. At a later date, probably by Friday or so, there will be certain maybe a release or something along those lines to state, look here, I didn't say anything like that, and an investigation is ongoing into it.
Do you have
You know,
suspicions as to where this may have originated? Or do you
my
care to comment on that?
my suspicion is from the government, or the government supporters, I should say, rather.
Mhm.
Don't want to say the government carte blanche, but I think it would be from their supporters who want to create a distraction that to take away from their, for want of a better word, mishandling of this situation and many other situations that they are currently facing.
Right. Any idea as to why there's so many people they could have picked in terms of names being on that release. But
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you, Uncle Will. I couldn't tell you why they would choose my name. I think because I had issued a release about 2 weeks ago in relation to the Haitian migrants who landed in Portland, and my name was on that one. So it's interesting that they copied and paste or used Photoshop or whatever it was and used my name and not the senior, the senior's name. That was very interesting to me.
was that the one that you put out, the last release, was that the last release from the PNP, or was there another release after your release regarding the
I
issue?
think there was not in terms of foreign affairs, but it's the last release with my name
Okay.
that had my name on it, and it had my info as it is on the bottom and the footer of it.
Okay.
So
Now, if it should it turn out that it's a JLP official or a JLP supporter, and the person is identified, would you forgive and forget, or what course of action are you seeking?
you see, if I find out, especially if it's somebody with deep pockets, and as an attorney, you would understand. If I
Yeah.
find out it's somebody with deep pockets, you know that a lawsuit is quickly behind. Yes,
Yeah.
lawsuit is. You see, if it is not somebody with deep pockets, we have just passed a Cyber Crimes Act here in Jamaica. This is a forgery of a document. I think I would allow the law to take its course because it can't be business as usual after this.
Okay. Is this the first time something like this has happened with your party, where a release was published and it had nothing to do with the true, or with the list, with the named originator or the party? Is this the first time?
Yes, I actually think it is. I think this is a new law. I think this is the first time. I think we have never issued a release or done vice versa to persons who to anybody like this. I think it's the first time where such something like this has happened. That somebody has gone to such lengths to create such a distraction and to create such furor over a diplomatic row, to borrow the Gleaner's words.
Right.
But you know, as we have Luke George Cook joining us, human rights activist. Mr. Cook, good evening and welcome to the program. We're speaking to opposition junior spokesperson on foreign affairs and foreign trade, where somebody forged the People's National Party letterhead with his name on it and sent out a press release. You have a question for him, Mr. Cook? Welcome to the program, sir.
No, but Jeffrey, I think I heard him saying that it is unusual that we have ever had such a row with the United States. But as you can see, the social media pages are showing that there has been a concern regarding the situation when the United States had put up the flag, and that there were protesters out there, that this seemed to have been a continuation of the United States effort to basically have an agenda brought forward. And there are those now who are alleging that the PNP are enjoying this because the United States, in some of the comments that is, the United States is happy with the position that the PNP has taken because the United States Embassy is in support of the PNP forming the next administration.
Hold on there, Luke.
I don't know
Hold on.
if there's a...
Hold on a minute for me, please. Hold on a minute. We must make it clear that the American embassy sit on American soil. It is not Jamaican soil. So what they do on American property has nothing to do with
with
Jamaica or the
Jamaica.
Jamaican government. So if they want to fly a flag over there, that's their prerogative. Am I wrong? Am I right, Mr. Rattigan?
You're absolutely correct.
You're absolutely correct, Mr. Tavares. And let me just say, Mr. Cook, let me just say that when I said it's the first time that I didn't say that it's the first time we're having a row. I said it's the first time that somebody has issued a fake release on our letterhead as the People's National Party. We are no stranger to having diplomatic rows, quote unquote, with the United States. This is happening from as early as the 70s, that we and the United States have had differences in opinions, and for most times they've been resolved. So I wouldn't have said something like that, but it is the first time that a release has been issued on our letterhead that has not originated from us.
All right.
That
Thanks for
introduces
the
a new law. Yes.
thanks for the clarification.
Yeah.
Um, the thing that I'm a little bit interested in, because you see, because nobody is handling the situation, it has left a lot of Jamaicans now questioning what are the other sanctions that are likely to come if this is not handled in a proper manner. Here's where I think that the Jamaicans could have benefited from the expertise of some of the gent like Wilfred Rattigan and the panel, because if the letter was written to the government last year and the government chose a time frame to respond, why would they have chosen such a long time frame that the US Embassy had to write to them a second time? And what would you, Christopher, recommend that we look at as a possible way of resolving the matter in an amicable way?
My view on the matter is simply that we should follow the Vienna Convention on diplomatic relations. The I have read the the um the convention, especially articles I think 35 to 37, which states categorically that the spouse is to be accredited with diplomatic immunity. Um, it doesn't speak to it's drafted in such wide terms that it doesn't speak to um local law. It's a treaty of international law. I can always stand corrected because it's not my area of expertise. Um, I think that the easiest thing to do and the way around it is that there's one way, which is to just make this spouse an employee of the embassy. That's one. Or two, just accord him with the diplomatic immunity, even though it's clashing with our local law, because right now local law does not take precedence in this matter. It is international law, right? So I would, I would simply just accredit the spouse with the diplomatic immunity, or have them have them. I don't want to poke my nose, because, as you said, you don't want to poke your hand and then certain consequences fall from that. Just accredit the person. I think the language is clear enough in the convention to allow such an accreditation. I know it's a very uncomfortable idea, especially for what we feel here in Jamaica, but um, it is something that we have to face as persons. But that is as far as I go, and this is my personal opinion. This is not the opinion of the People's National Party.
But
Oh, go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, yeah,
but
but this is not the
but
opinion of the personal
yeah,
person. But
we
go ahead.
appreciate. Well, I appreciate that. But what other possible sanctions you see would come if we continue to have a standoff between the two countries?
Well, according to the foreign minister, there is no standoff. There is no standoff. But the papers, the Jamaica Gleaner has reported that three diplomats might be coming home quite shortly. And it is alleged, I don't know how true it is, that this is the ambassador in Washington, the consul general in Miami, and somebody else. We don't know who the third one is.
The third one is the one in New York.
Allison.
That's what I was told.
Yeah, well, that is what we are hearing. But
Yeah.
the foreign minister made an entire statement today, and Mr. Rattigan can speak to the truthfulness of the foreign minister. That there is no diplomatic row between the United States and Jamaica.
You're starting a new standoff.
That we
She
are
she
we are
she
apparently starting a new stand.
she has discredited the man as a lad, although he has
Yeah, she
he has
has. She has
presented
put out
the
a statement.
yes, although the man has shown her that he has empirical data to support his lawsuit. So who do we believe in this case when we have this new international standoff?
Believe me.
But well, let me say this: that she's famous for statements, especially when she
Is
accused
she
a
going?
retired statesman of certain
Boy, I'm
actions.
surprised that she didn't say Rattigan tried to tie her up to and do all sort of things
I'm
to
not
her.
troubling that one. I'm not troubling that one. No, I'm not troubling that one. I'm not troubling.
Because I still can't believe that at your level and at the level of power that you wield in this country that you really could come and put that out there. It's sad, but the thing is that I would love to have seen how they could take advice from people who know to handle this situation, because for a long time, Christopher, I think that the international community through the diaspora have said we have expertise to deal with some of these homeland situations. We could
Mhm.
best advise you because these are not, as you rightfully say, this might not be your area of expertise. Using the Vienna Convention is one. Secondly, I would have gone with the recommendation: treat the individual as an individual employee of the United States, grant them the diplomatic immunity. We don't business what two consenting adults want to do in the comfort of their home. We just have this law that is brought before the parliament. We have not repealed it. So respect the law, because we have to teach all Jamaicans, and this is what the law says. But then again, it seems like they're not listening to any advice, but they have money to go find ways and means of trying to run for quote unquote situation that we're trying to get out of.
And it is interesting to find that they found the money for that certain post. And I was reliably informed that she was informed that she could not win because the Africans were told that their time is next, and it was they that will succeed Baroness Scotland. So they threw their support behind Baroness Scotland, you know.
Well, I would have thrown mine one behind her, because we're asking for reparation and we're asking to leave the king. So why would we want to hold that position?
Exactly.
I would have done it seemed like the done deal to do, but then again, we do silly things in this country, and we don't answer for it. But as I said, Christopher, it is the sanction, because there is a lot of Jamaicans who are of the opinion, and then I don't like people giving information when they are not reliably informed. And I'd ask Rattigan, are there further sanctions if these things, if she don't want to call it a standoff, let us say if a prolonged um um a prolonged situation where the United States is saying we're asking you to grant us this, and if not, we're going to send home your diplomat. Are there additional sanctions that can affect? Because I'm reading now that it might just affect the economy, and if we were to have any natural disaster, we would suffer because the United States would not be so friendly in sending aid.
I really couldn't speak to that if there's any sanctions because as you could well appreciate, Mr. Cook, we are not in government. So when Kamina comes out and says that we don't know what is really going on behind the scenes with her and the United States, well, with the government and the United States. So we have really are watching it unfold like the rest of Jamaica and the diaspora, and watching what is happening, and
So
we
hold on.
find it. Yes,
The government has the total control. They don't share any information with the opposition.
the foreign affairs portfolio, especially in foreign affairs in this country. I've been reliably informed in our time that we'd speak to our counterpart on certain developments, but I don't think that relationship has continued
So
with.
hold on there now.
So,
Let
Yes.
me
Chris,
come
you're
into the
saying
big
that
mouth.
you have not been sent the communication as opposition spokesperson on foreign
Mm,
affairs.
Well, I, as a junior, I can speak to that, right?
Okay.
As a junior, yes,
So
you.
so hold on there now. That means Lisa had to come and tell the people of Jamaica, if the goodly lady who wanted to become Secretary General of the Commonwealth, according to Baroness Scotland, that she don't chat, It seems as if our minister love to chat. So she need to come and tell Lisa, I need to come and tell the people of Jamaica, if the Minister of Foreign Affairs may time and time again sit down and talk to her about what is going on within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Don't she have to go into details?
Well,
It can't be that we only
yes.
have a one-man Dan business going on in this country.
Well, I commit you to make the invite, Jeffrey. If you
No, but
can.
no. But Jeffrey, Chris, isn't it constitutional that that these things are shared with the opposition?
No, it's actually not. It's actually not.
It's
Not
not.
foreign affairs. Not foreign affairs. No, not
It
foreign
falls
affairs.
out of the constitution that all government related activities should be shared.
Right. It's not
And
all government related
specific?
activities.
Why specifically foreign affairs?
No, I'm saying it doesn't say, it says share, and share would be subject to a wide
Yeah,
interpretation. So
interpretation.
you know that if them stand up in parliament and say X, Y, and Z and make a statement, that is sharing. So we
Oh,
really
that's
don't
how
know
they
what
deem
really going
share.
on. Right.
So in other words,
Oh,
Blue,
that's so.
in other words, Blue,
Yeah.
Wilfred Rattigan need to come into this now. Is it that the Minister of Foreign Affairs is saying to the people of Jamaica, there's no diplomatical war going on between Jamaica and the United States? So what we want to find out now, where did the Jamaica Observer, Gleaner, and all the news outlets in Jamaica, where did they get this from? If the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, who is traveling with the Prime Minister all over the globe, searching and begging for Haiti, where they must get too much million for Haiti now, while our crime pandemic is out of whack, and we have a sleeping Minister of National Insecurity, who is also the sleeping Deputy Prime Minister and the sleeping Deputy Minister of Defense, where for him constituency is a crime going on down there.
Well, you know, he's a godfather for St. James, but let me behave myself.
So
Let me behave myself. Let me behave
Wilfred
myself.
Rattigan,
Is that alleged? Is that alleged?
That is alleged. Yes, that's
Wilfred
alleged.
Rattigan,
Yeah.
That is alleged.
Yeah.
what I
That is
want to
alleged.
find out now, Will,
Mm.
you as a former FBI agent who have been in many diplomatical posts around the world, for the United States, I presume. Don't you think that the minister should come out and address the people of Jamaica or the Prime Minister?
All right. You put up before I answer that, you put up a comment earlier about somebody said, are there more lawsuits coming?
Yes.
Yeah. And to be frank, yes, I'm planning on a few more. So we shall see. I put some paperwork in last week and this week, so we'll see what the responses are. Based on the responses, then we'll move forward. But let me shed some light on this. I have a little bit of experience, not much. I've had a little bit of experience sitting at the table representing the U.S. government in various diplomatic posts, and I've seen incidents like this, right? And when you hear when the Honorable Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith, when you hear her coming out saying that, despite what's going on, the brouhaha, right, the imbroglio, and you hear her saying that we continue to enjoy strong diplomatic relations, that's simply not true. Simply not true. The U.S. government is dead set on human rights, and they consider this part of their human rights campaign, right, across the globe. And I've been assigned to posts where host country government, they have laws where this type of sexual activity is punishable by death.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen where those same countries, where the U.S. government sent people to those countries to represent the U.S. interests, and those countries, what they did was they said, look, you know what, we're not going to make us think about this because that's their business. They're here to work. They're working mostly in a sovereign space, the embassy, as you mentioned, Jeffrey. And so that's fine. I've seen it happen time and time and time again. This could have easily been resolved. Actually, it didn't even need to happen. But this is what happens when you have rank amateurs on the international scene, faking to be real diplomats. They don't understand the nuances of diplomacy. They don't, because this should have never happened. There are ways that this could have been handled. Once they got the cable asking for certification, this could have happened. Because the way it works is, and it works with every country, if you're sending someone to work to represent your government in another country, they send out a cable, and the cable is an announcement, and it's basically as a person's CV. It just says, you know, Mr. Tavares is coming to work in this capacity. He's worked here, there, and he's coming with his family, and blah 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 blah. And it's a perfunctory sign off, meaning that it's just routine. People just sign off on this, right? So for them now to stop this, and I'm not taking sides regarding the issue, the issue of sexuality here. I'm just talking about it in terms of diplomacy. Now, one of the things that the minister mentioned, she said, members of staff from both countries continue to reside and work in each other's territory and are expected to observe the laws of their host country. No, laws of their host country. Correct me if I'm wrong, but somebody told me that there's a particular area near New Kingston where homosexual activity for money, right, is a continuing thing. No, if the law, if there's a Jamaican law that says homosexuality is a crime, then why isn't this area being cleaned up then?
Well, it's not sexuality that is the crime. It is a certain act. So there's no law that prevents one being a homosexual, but there's a certain act that is involved in sexuality.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know it's happening, so why don't you go investigate those people? Not only that, I think there is an organization called J Flag. Right?
Yes.
Right. And what are they promoting? They're promoting something that is illegal in Jamaica, right?
In a sense, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So then
let's say something that is illegal for one set of homosexuals, because another set doesn't need to do what is illegal.
right. But so you see, I'm saying if I were sitting at the table, if I were at the U.S. Embassy, I would be saying, I don't understand this because they're not consistent. Because you can't tell me that there's not homosexual activity going on in Jamaica. Right?
That would be completely wrong. That's
Right.
That's,
and so you say, well, wait a minute, what are they? Why are they picking on the people that we're sending? Right? That would be an issue. The other thing is that once the cable was sent over, they could have handled this in-house.
Yes.
But the fact that you waited for a second cable to come, and I can tell you right now that the U.S. government is not going to back down. They're not going to back down. They're going to say, look, you're going to take these two people and give them their diplomatic accreditation, or else. And the or else, going back to the question that Luke George posed, that or else could mean a myriad of things that could affect Jamaica. And the question is, how did we get here? And why are we still here?
Why are we still here?
How did we get here and why are we still here? Because this could have been handled way before it got out of hand. Now it's out of hand. And go ahead, Jeff.
So let me ask this question, Mr. Rattigan, and then I have, everybody can come in. If a diplomatical cable is sent to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, downtown Kingston, the building that the Chinese them build and it bug. It got bug inside of it. I don't mean well, Jeffrey, behave yourself. I mean the news bug them from China.
Oh, you don't mean chichi.
The chichi them buggy. They're yamming it down. So if that diplomatical cable is sent to the good lady of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, couldn't they handle this in a different way, Mr. Rattigan? Couldn't she say, okay, we're gonna send back a diplomatical cable to the United States as we get this? We're gonna send back something to them. Either yes or no.
Right. Oh,
So
and here's
why
another
did-
thing.
Go ahead.
Here's another thing. Keep in mind that some people started jumping up and down when they announced the U.S. ambassador to Jamaica, who's a Jamaican born, right? And I kept telling people that, look, you have to understand that his interest is not in Jamaica, despite he may have.
No, his interest is not in Jamaica. No.
Yeah, his interest is not here. He has to take his cues from the U.S. Department of State
Hold on
located
to
in
it, Mr. Rattigan. Mr. Henry, can you mute your mic until you're ready to speak, sir?
You know what, gentlemen, let me get back to this meeting that I'm here. If when I'm finished, I will see if you're still on, Jeffrey, and rejoin you.
Please, because we don't finish with it yet, you know. We have to talk some
I
more.
know you don't finish with me yet. So as I finish, I will jump
No,
back on.
but
Cut
Chris,
the
Chris, you,
meeting
you don't
short,
think,
man.
hold on, you're not thinking,
Yes.
well, I know you had the meeting, but you're not thinking the best interest of this discussion if you can give us a little bit more time, because you see, when Rattigan answers Jeffrey question, and then we hear about the bug building, but we heard that that bug building was cleared, and it is the Chinese who gave that building, so that in and of itself is another standoff issue.
Well,
But but what I'd like to say to Rattigan, outside of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who is the minister consulting on this matter? Who you, if you
I
were
couldn't
serving
tell
in that
you.
portfolio, who you would consult?
Right.
Because you have to consult somebody who at least have clearance at a certain level. And as Rattigan always said, he has sat on that side of the table. Poor Mr. Perry. Mr. Perry is a servant of the United States, and as Rattigan said, he has to carry out the mandate of this.
Yes.
And it came with the USAID fund. We all knew this in Jamaica when USAID says that the funding that they're now given through the Pathway program, it must have a level of tolerance for people of other sexual orientation, and it clearly specify the transvestite, the gays, and so forth. So we knew this was coming. So I don't know why it looked like, say, the secretary of God, but I agree with my brethren. It looked like, say, too much amateur.
Amateur.
Too much,
Yeah,
a whole
man.
heap of amateur. Well, I
Yeah,
can't say
too
that.
much amateur.
Yes, well, they don't consult with us in terms of foreign affairs, and let me frankly say, and it's not a level of arrogance, is that the PNP wrote the book on foreign policy for Jamaica. Let us just be frank about it. They don't know anything about foreign policy. The best that they had was, and them named the building after him because them insistent to name everything after for them people alone. Um, After Hugh Shearer, and Hugh Shearer can't advise her which part him there, right? So we wrote the book on foreign affairs, and they do not consult with anybody on our side. Yes,
You
and
sure
they
was a
have it
trade
at our
unionist?
retired. Huh?
He was a trade unionist. How come he's the best?
No,
Because
Shearer was in the when he after his trade union days, he actually was in the 80s the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Yeah.
He was the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So they don't consult with our side, and they have their quote unquote retired ambassadors that they, from what I understand, label as PNP leaning. So she doesn't speak to them. Our former high commissioners that they label as PNP. I think the only person outside of that is also dead is her father, because her father was an ambassador,
To the
Right,
Ambassador Johnson.
Yeah.
right. So you're saying to me that now what is going on, or any other thing, our current Minister of Foreign Affairs has
Yes.
to have a conversation with former Ambassador Luma Samba?
I don't think she does. I don't think Alun even speaks to her.
What a disgrace.
I don't think Alun speaks to her, and vice versa. You see her and her smiling face there. She's very tribal, Jeffrey. She's
Because
very
I asked her
tribal.
a question,
She's very
and
tribal.
and they will not give me and Wilfred Rattigan the space to ask
And
questions
you
and ask a
and
follow-up question.
you will never get that space. That is why Uncle Ratty had to go to court.
Yes.
To
And,
get
and and that is why we get a science one statement out
Chris,
of us.
Chris,
Yeah.
let me advise you, don't call him Uncle Ratty, because now you're gonna hear them label it as a PMP ploy.
Well, he has to
Yeah.
come
I'm a
from family,
godson. I'm a godson.
Yes, that's why.
Yeah.
That's
I'm a
right. Yes,
godson.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yes.
Even if I,
And this was before. This was before. This
This is
was way
long
before I got involved
before.
in this. Way before I got
Long
involved.
before me getting enough
Chris,
profit.
Yeah. This was way
I'm
before.
just at, just some good advice. Let's just keep the relationship as quiet as possible, because I'm sure that the way how the labor writers are skewed it is that Rattigan was promised something by the Mark Golan administration. He has to do this for them to win, to bring him into the fold, and they try to discredit everybody who loves their country and just want to serve
But
it.
remember, a famous one did say his father is Obi man, but Ratty grandfather Obi man, you know.
Caporedas are Rattigan.
Well, you see, let me say this to you. Let me say this to you, Mr. Cook.
Caporedas are
By,
Rattigan.
on both sides of the family, we are no stranger to liquor scandal. My Bruce Golding, on my mother's side, Bruce Golding carried a list to Parliament. This is in the 70s with my grandfather's firm's name, Dewey Brown and Adams, engineers, that they were getting sweetheart deals from Tony Spalding. Yes.
Yes, I heard about that.
So that we're no strangers. And on the other side, no, I understand that Grandma Henry was threatened in the supermarket. Say she are all socialists, and is you why we in a problem. You and your husband why we in a problem. Hence why them is in everybody basically. Well, the Dewey's are still here, but the Henrys are in the United States.
Oh, so hold on here now, Christopher. That is why somebody from the shower decide to put your name on the PNP something.
It could be if them know them history. It could be.
But you know what? One of the things I've said to people, and I've said constantly, and I'll say it again now, is that I don't care about party. I care about people and policies. And if the JLP should call me tomorrow and say, listen, we need you to come and help us to solve this crime problem, I said I would gladly do it for free.
Yeah.
For free. Because at the end of the day, I'm about Jamaica and Jamaicans. I'm not about party and politics. But you see, what happened is that they'll never do it.
No, they will never do that.
No, because you know why? Because once them do that, believe me, the amount of dirt I'm gonna dig up. They have dirt already. And so them just say, we can't use this man. We can't use him.
And that is why the world class Minister of Finance lied to the people of Jamaica that the FBI is investigating the SSL. When I asked him a question at a town hall meeting in Washington, D.C. and Zoom, where the ambassador who they're trying to non-grant and Prasada now, she had the town hall meeting. And when I asked him the question, I said, can you tell the people of the diaspora and Jamaica, is the FBI in Jamaica investigating Minister of Finance, Carl Jeffrey Tavares, round Nickel Point, Moran
and
Point,
Straight Road, Moran Point, right? Yes.
Down at Spurtree, he'll come back, he'll fly go to Miami. Hey, and
carry you all around the world.
And I'm saying, and they could even say, look here, you're lying. You're lying to us.
Look, let me just share.
But gentlemen, I have to leave you if you're still on when I'm.
Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. I have to leave you. Thank you for having me. I shall return if you're still on when I leave. when I'm singing there, when I'm leaving this meeting. Yes, I know that you guys will be on. So I soon come. All right.
You shall return. Go ahead and come, man. Wilfred Rattigan, I am looking at something.
No, what I was gonna say is that it's an amazing thing how the government operate. Like I said, Christopher, I went to school with his dad. His dad and I went to Meadowbrook together, and we were in first farm all the way through fifth farm. And then when I moved to New York, his father actually helped me to get into college. And we went to the same school, took the same classes. In fact, his dad lived with my family at one point. And then I met Christopher's mom. She was going to another college, and she was a friend of my girlfriend at the time. They were both friends. And so it's like double dating, you know. So, and I know his family on both sides, particularly his father's side. And I became his godfather. So, and that's no secret. But here is something that, like I've said, I don't care about politics. And one of the things I'm sorry he's not here to hear this, but I asked this government, just to give you a sense of how this government operates, right? I asked the government, hey, give me a list of all the people who went to Kigali, Rwanda, for the conference when they were voting for Secretary General of the Commonwealth, right? Now, that should be public knowledge. There's nothing confidential about that. Then right behind tell me, say, no, them can't tell me because it's in a confidential document that is under the exception under the Access to Information Act, which is nonsense. It's nonsense. How can you tell me that Jamaican officials who attended a conference that was not confidential, wasn't secret, in fact, it was open, reporters were there, and you're going to say, no, we can't give you the names. We can't give you the names because I'm going to expose this to the Jamaican people and let them know, say, if you like patty and you buy patty, if you like bulla and you buy bulla, if you like drinks, soft drinks, and any food, so you might not think that you're paying for this trip, but you are. There's something called GCT. You're paying for this. And when you go, I'm telling you, when you see the number of people who actually show up for this thing, remember now, the whole thing costs 40-something million Jamaican dollars, 40-something million Jamaican dollars.
And I believe it costs more than that because it was a whole hell of an entourage.
Well, I took this week, just a couple of days ago, I had to school the permanent secretary over at the and I know some of my supporters would say, no go down that road, but people need to know the truth. The truth must not only be the truth, but it must be told. I had to school her because they're bringing up all kinds of roadblocks to providing information, and they simply are not familiar with the rules and the law. And I have to school them and say, look, no. Go to this section and look. What you're telling me is rubbish. Look at this section and see what the section says. It says exactly what I'm supposed to do. And I'm asking you for information, and this thing says you're supposed to give it to me. All right? Or if I send it to the wrong ministry, then that ministry is obligated under the law to forward it to the right ministry, not send it back to me or tell me, say, well, can I give it to you? You need to go over there. That's rubbish. That's not how it works. But I'm telling you, I'm going to get that list. And when I get that list, people, you'll understand how money is being wasted. Money is being wasted. We don't have it. It's a precious commodity. We don't have, it's like water, right? It's short all over the place. And we don't have enough of it. And yet still, when it comes time for jollification and merriment and partying, we find the money for pay for public officials to go and they went to have a big celebration, and they were grossly disappointed. Grossly disappointed. So, I stand by my statement that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, at least at the leadership level, at the ground level, where the worker bees, where you have people working, you have some talented people. I know some of them, extremely talented people. But
go ahead.
No, but at the leadership level, upper management, lot to be desired.
As you go back to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Rattigan, I know Luke George asked you this question before. If Jamaica is saying that there's no diplomatic war between them and the United States, and I think the United States is saying the same thing, I'm not sure. But if that be the case, Mr. Rattigan, do you believe that the American government is going to say to the diplomats overseas, you're non grata and passata?
Persona non grata. Yeah. Somebody just put in the chat room, Leslie, said that them lose out on me because the issue is marriage. And that Jamaica, apparently what the person is saying is that Jamaica has a law banning same-sex marriage. Well,
then how they have persons? Listen to me, man. Don't make a start in here tonight, You have Jamaican clergymen going down to the hotels. Jeffrey, shut your mouth. Make I keep my mouth.
Let me say something to Leslie. Leslie, since you know what the issue is, maybe you should be advising the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade as to how to handle this. Because I'm telling you something, Leslie. America no play fair. America no play fair. And when them start apply the squeeze, right? When them start apply the squeeze, I need you, if you haven't done it yet, is to get up and give them your version or your advice as to how to handle this. Because all I'm saying, whether it's marriage or not marriage or same sex or not sex, all I'm saying to you is that diplomatically, this could have been handled differently. That's all I'm saying. Forget about the sexuality of it. And I said that to you before. I'm talking about it on diplomatic terms. This could have been handled way better.
But Mr. Rattigan and Leslie should understand that they're not asking if these two people are to be married. They're already married in a foreign country.
Right.
What they're and it doesn't apply because the Buggery law doesn't apply here. It doesn't, and that is what people must understand. Educate yourself. Nobody's lobbying for America on this, but it is something that we have to understand the principle of it and understand the context in which it is. You're saying that you will not recognize same-sex marriage because it is in our law. That's one, but it does that is that on itself can stand, because it is known fact that people have come here who might not have asked for their partners to come here, who have alternative sexual preferences, and we cannot be discriminating on that. That's not what the basis of our law. Our law is to try to prevent older person from taking advantage. But two consenting adults of the same sex in any house, what are you going to go in there and tell the people them say you don't have the jurisdiction for tell them that them can't practice what they want to do?
Well, let me ask Leslie another question. What if you have two people the same sex who would like to come to Jamaica to enjoy the sunshine and the beaches and whatnot? Do you think Sandals will inquire and say no, you cannot come? In fact, years ago, I remember that couples, I think it was, their rule was that it had to be one member of each sex, right? You couldn't have two people of the same sex come in there as a couple. Because I met a girl who was a tennis pro, and she was going with a girlfriend to put on some exhibition or whatever. And when she got there, she had a hard time getting in because it's two women and they wouldn't let them in. No, I'm hearing that has changed. They just need two people, right? So are we now saying, let's extrapolate this to tourism then? Are we now saying that you don't want two people of the same sex coming and staying in a room and enjoying what the gifts of Jamaica, the sunshine, the people, the food, the beaches, all of this stuff? We don't want them coming here and doing that. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, where do we stop at this? And again, my point is, diplomatically, it didn't have to come to this. When them send you a cable, because apparently, Leslie, you haven't served overseas. Let me kind of educate you how this thing works. When you get a cable from the US government or any government, you're supposed to respond to that cable in a timely fashion. That's just how it works, right? When Jamaica sends a cable to the US embassy, Jamaica is going to get a response, right? You don't wait as if you think the problem is going to go away or the issue is going to go away, and then for that country then to come and send a second cable. That it doesn't work like that in diplomatic circles. And I can tell you this, Leslie, trust me on this one, because I've worked in diplomatic circles for years. It doesn't work like that. You send a cable, and if there's an objection to it, you send a return cable and you say, we object on the following grounds, blah 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 blah, and then there's a back and forth, and then try and work it out. But you don't get a cable and you sit on it, and especially Leslie, when it comes to employment and as I said, deployment or assignment. When they say, look, we're picking this person because we need this person in the embassy to perform A, B, C, D, F, and G, that kind of cable is usually dealt with expeditiously, because you don't want the work of somebody's embassy to be backed up simply because you don't feel like you should grant it. So what you do when you get that cable, if you have an objection because you say, well, it's against our law, whatever the reason is, you reach out to that country, you send the cable, or if I were the foreign minister, I would go in person. I would go in person with the cable in hand. And if the response is we object, then you go and you say, look, this is not going to work for the following reasons, and you handle it like that. But to ignore the cable and then have a second cable sent, you're asking for trouble, Leslie. That's all I'm saying. So you don't have to lose half of me.
But not only that, Mr. Rattigan. have our foreign affairs ministry at any time in our history send a diplomatical cable that we're going to have a same-sex person coming to America from Jamaica?
If what?
Have
I don't.
at any time at all our foreign affairs ministry in Jamaica send a diplomatical cable to any country around the world that somebody of the same sex coming to serve in their country from Jamaica?
I'm not aware of that. If you mean to send out advance notice saying that don't
Yes.
send same-sex couples, I'm not aware of that.
No, he's basically asking if you know of any situation.
Or if I know of any situation where that has been done,
where same
no.
sex. So, but I don't think you would have
No.
that information.
No,
But
no.
Jeffrey,
And like I
the
said,
truth
and
of
like
the
I, hold on
matter
one
is
second,
that-
Lou. And like I said, I don't know if you were here when I mentioned it. I served in a particular country in the Middle East where homosexuality is punishable by death.
By death.
Right. And America sent people. I mean, I saw these people, I worked with them. They sent them to the embassy and they work. And it's like and those cables were signed off by host country government. They were like, look, you know what? You come into work, and then you leave. And then that's it. So but again, there was a response. You see what I'm saying? So I can't solve everybody's problems. All I can say to you is this, that I think it was handled in a terrible way. When you get the cable, you respond. The fact that you say, well, we're not responding to it, and then you get a second cable, and now this is where we are. That's what the problem is. So I'm not talking about somebody's sexuality or that.
Who cares about anybody's sexuality?
No, what I'm talking about diplomatic procedures. That's what I'm talking about. This could have been handled differently. So, if anybody disagree with me, then that's fine. But I'm just giving you the benefit of my experience working overseas for the U.S. government. That's all.
Luke George?
Well, the truth, Jeffrey, I think that basically Miss Johnson Smith has handled this one poorly. I think that they should have sought the advice of people in the international community who is best able to handle this. That would have been the sensible thing to do. The fact that it is now out there for public consumption, it has put a lot of Jamaican on edge, because we're wondering what, again, our government making decisions, how they make those decisions. Now, I'm happy if our government take a stand on some things, but let us be reasonable. There's a lot of dealings that have gone under the table that the Jamaican people don't know about. And again, I'm saying that this makes us look like an amateur country, because when I hear the extent of the time that the cable had come to the time that we responded, and the time that we responded, it seems as if we didn't really think about this and the backlash of it. Now, to me, there is no effort to inform the public as to what might come out of this. So for her to deny that there is a standoff between them and
Right.
the United States government, it further puts a sort of doubt on the situation, because Jamaicans are dissecting the information and people are coming up with a lot of suggestions as to what else is to come. Whether or not the United States of America should be dictating that this is, that they have a strong position, Jeffrey. And in diplomacy, Rattigan can better advise you than me. I'm still a student. Some things are you have to understand when you have to be a diplomat when you are being set up, and when you do not make a grandstand about something until you're in a position. Because here's what the reality is Jamaica in a position to have a standoff with the United States? They donate the greatest aid to the country. So it brings us back to it. If you were running the country and not managing it, we would have been in a better position, because we could have said, we don't need your aid, no thank you, so we don't have to comply to this rule. But for what it is, our Foreign Affairs Office really looked like it is being run by amateur. But I thought that there was going to be a shift in the minister, so maybe they were going to bring in somebody with far more foreign.
Look, let me just give it your list, your viewers an insight, some insight as to how this thing has been played out. There's something called a senior staff at the embassy, right? And it's all the heads of the different agencies, and there are lots of agencies there. Some agencies they know about, some agencies most people don't know about, right? And they get together, right? And they're sitting with the ambassador and they're discussing this issue. Now, this ambassador is a political appointee. He's not a career diplomat. So he doesn't understand what the hell's going on. They have to explain to him, right? And you can just imagine whatever position they take, it's going to be nuanced. Whatever information they give him is going to be nuanced in that direction, right? Not that he can't think, but they have a wealth of experience. And once they start telling him how things work, he has no choice but to go along with it. Plus, he's getting directions from Washington as well, right? So he's getting it in Jamaica and he's getting it in Washington. And that message is consistent, right? That message is consistent. So now when they sit at the senior staff meeting, what they're actually doing, they're saying, okay, the Jamaican government decided that it wants to go this route. And we're providing funding and we're doing this and we're doing this. And the issue is going to come up, okay, what are we going to do? Right? And they have to come up with a plan and they have to report that back to Washington. Washington will then weigh in on it and said, okay, I think we should do this, or I think we should do something more stringent, or keep it as status quo. And then whatever decision they take, then they're going to move forward with it. And then people will find out in due course what exactly that is. But this is not something that the ambassador alone is talking about. This is something where all the heads of agencies, they sit in that room and they say, okay, what are we going to do about it? And everybody has a role to play in the activities of Jamaica. Every single agency in there, whether it's law enforcement, agriculture, medical, whatever it is, everybody has a role. That's why they're there. And they're going to say, okay, so how can we get them to comport with what we want them to do? Because I'm telling you, the U.S. government, once they've issued that, they're not going to back down. So people need to...
Because look at this now, Mr. Rattigan. In February of 2022, the current Minister of National Insecurity, Harris Chang, signed an agreement with the USAID of $7.2 million. That's 1.1 billion Jamaican dollars to help fight crime,
Mm-hmm.
So if they decide, say, we're giving you nothing more, niggas, that's it. So there are so many things that is going to happen, I am not, as I said before, I wasn't going to touch the topic at all, because when it comes on to certain things, I am not in anywhere, shame or form or whatever to discuss anything. Whatever happened in the private of somebody's room, that's their business.
One of the things that Rattigan said earlier on about J-Flag, this building has been burnt down at least 3 times. Everywhere they try to host that office in Jamaica, they have been burned down. There are videos of homosexual males, and I find Jamaicans a little bit insensitive because lesbians are all over Jamaica and practicing their lifestyle, and that is more acceptable to us here in this country. But when it comes to 2 men, we tend to go outside. We see videos coming out of Spanish show where they actually put tires over these guys and were burning them to death because of their sexual orientation. Now look, it is your individual choice and right to choose not to support homosexuality, but it should be your individual right to be tolerant of other people, as long as it is not the disabled, the vulnerable, or
Children.
children that are being targeted. That is where I draw the line. But you see, me, I don't want to be Jesus, because that job was taken long ago. And it brings the bigger point. The United States has a campaign that they're lobbying for tolerance. Look at the amount of Jamaican Rattigan that have now gone into the United States through the border, who are alleging that they are of that sexual orientation. That is the largest reason for and you're talking about some real thugs that have left Jamaica, who is now purporting that they are of this nature. And because it is what is going to be give them far more leverage to make their case for staying in the United States, people are using that. Now, people don't get the message twisted. Everybody has a right to choose, and it is when the rest of us want to choose to other people that infringe on our right. I don't want you to infringe on my right as a heterosexual male, but you know, when you're going to start this argument, I always say, well, they never tell the man them in Jamaica where I breed up the woman them that we should have a law that if you don't mind your pitney, you can't leave Jamaica. And so much of them would have got mind them pitney. So again, it's how we handle things when it comes, and I am more concerned for the implication for the country that this administration is making a judgment that is not in the best interest of the Jamaican people. And right now, it is causing a lot of persons in different social background in Jamaica major concern, because there are people who are now contemplating if they should leave Jamaica now if this row continue to happen. And there seems to be no end time to this, because again, I'm saying, who is advising the minister? Because Jeffrey Tavares, when I don't know something, I'll call Wilfred Rattigan if I feel that he has the best expertise. And again, this is why I'm saying that the Jamaica, you have Wilfred Rattigan, you have Herb Nelson, you have Claire Nelson, who all have, you have Ambassador Ward, who have sat at the table with these powerful people, and he who pays the piper called the tune.
Remember, you know, the Minister of Misinformation said that Ambassador Ward is a fake ambassador. Nestor Morgan, who is a misinformation minister for the Labour Party government, disrespected a Jamaican citizen, a man who has so many things on his belt, who is well respected around the world, by saying that Ambassador Curtis Ward is a fake ambassador. I have the, I don't want to play it. I have the clipping to play it, you know. I can find it and show that he said it. Robert Nestor Morgan, the Labour Party government minister of misinformation.
You know what's funny? You know what's interesting?
Yeah, I'm out of order.
The minister, right? Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. She said in a statement ascribed to her, she said there is no diplomatic row between Jamaica and the United States as we continue to enjoy strong and positive diplomatic relations. You know what's noticeably absent? We haven't seen a response from the U.S. government through the embassy. We haven't seen it.
Very troubling.
Yeah, if this was truly, right, if there was truly no diplomatic row, there would have been a joint statement coming out from them saying that, yes, we are friends, we may have our issues, but no, there's no diplomatic row concerning this. But the American government is seething at this, and they haven't put anything out. And so Jamaica is in a very precarious position, because when you don't hear anything, that's when you really should worry.
Hold on, Mr. Rattigan. I send you something from the American embassy, you know. Go up some more and read, come down.
Oh, you sent me something?
Yes, I did.
Hold on.
And that is why I wanted you to say, because I don't know if this is true.
Which one? The one that begins as of August 2021?
Right.
Right.
And the bottom part, it said the United States and Jamaica
continue to enjoy close ties based on shared values, trade, culture, tourism, and a vibrant diaspora community in the United States. I don't know where that came from, because these days you can't really tell.
It came off of the United States Twitter page. But we don't know if this is true. Because if they can fake the People's National Party letterhead.
But here's something why I say I'm not sure, because it says here the diplomats are expected to end their tour with the bilateral mission and depart the United States. Ambassadors, charge d'affaires, and deputy chiefs of mission are exempt. So if they're exempt, why is it that Ambassador Audrey Marks is an ambassador? So she should be exempt.
Something not adding up here.
I mean, go back and read it. And yet still, we see where reports are coming out that she was one of the persons listed to leave.
She's the first person.
Yeah,
the Jamaican ambassador to Washington, D.C., followed by the Jamaican consulate in Miami, Mayor.
Right. But here, this thing that you sent me, it says that ambassadors, charge d'affaires, and deputy chiefs, DCMs and DCMs, they're exempt from this policy. So if they're exempt from this policy, Audrey Marks' name shouldn't be included if she wanted to stay. She shouldn't be included. So that's what I'm saying. When you read these things, you have to be careful.
Yeah, BT, just me not understand the question of the business and moral. You what me say a while ago, I want to make it clear, because sometimes when I listen, just we hear what I want to say. I don't know if it was is a question, but when it comes to an individual choice, that's a guided choice by that individual. As long as you're not infringing on the rights of children, disabled person, but when adults come together, and it is, and in that I'm tolerant to say that as long as it's not infringing on the rights of the people that lives directly around you, then free I have to stand up for human rights. I can't say that I am standing for human rights and then people are gonna burn people and kill people. We have to learn tolerance.
You
It
know,
might not be my choice, but we have to learn tolerance. It's not that I'm asking anybody to change. People in Jamaica have voted. Them say them take a conscience vote and the bugger law, and them say make it stay, make it stay. But there are people in parliament who are enjoying same sex. So sometimes some of us are just damn hypocrites. Right?
you
You
know
have to
something.
call a ace and a spade a spade.
You know something. Luke and Wilfred Rattigan. Wilfred.
Yeah.
This thing here that is coming, that is, they say it's alleged coming from the American embassy. You know the best person to get some insight on the diplomacy of Jamaica and America? Ambassador Curtis Ward.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's something that I don't understand here. If the ambassadors are exempt, why is Ambassador Audrey Marks' name is on the list?
Exactly.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade need to explain to the people of Jamaica, you know.
But
They must stop
again,
the pussyfooting around.
Jeffrey, the information that we are being fed, Rattigan has made a very crucial point. We have not heard the United States Embassy issued an advisory to say exactly what the situation is. To
Right.
me, the fact that they said that they are still waiting on and it was when the second cable came, they have sent a cable to now probably express their unapologetic position on this. I would love to see coming out of the United States, because they have done it in the past when the ambassador had a row with a certain gentleman about his speaking badly of the Jamaica Labour Party, where their communication officer went on national TV. I'd love to see them take that position to say exactly what is to come. I don't want us to be speculative, because look here, if the standoff continue by the end of this week, and the Americans now said, look here, you either have to go this way, or we are going to, this is what is going to happen. What will it mean for the ordinary Jamaicans who did not ask the minister to make a decision that is going to further put us into an economic situation, but ask the minister to make the best decision that is in the interest of the Jamaican people, and then come out and just justify why they do it? Because they do it all the time. They make decision that is not, or we never asked her for a run for Commonwealth Secretary. We never, because we thought we were leaving the Commonwealth. Although we know that, and Jamaicans are still confused. I had a conversation with Rattigan to say, why them don't say that we're just leaving certain aspects of the Commonwealth, but we are still considered to be a member of the British Commonwealth.
Yes.
Why they don't make that profoundly clear to people? So at all time, Jeffrey, when they're making decisions, they are not very clear how they communicate it with us. You know? So we are being misled by the amateurs who we voted for. And I'm telling you, if you think that they're making a screw up in this department, look at the other things that they're doing internally, that they're doing, that they're making a mess
Yeah,
of, that
you
we are
know, the other
we
thing,
vote.
the other thing too is that when the people at the embassy, when they sit down and they look at this, and they consult with the people in Washington when they have their secure telephone calls and secure video calls, one of the things that they will definitely address is, what does this mean on a wider level? If we capitulate now and say, okay, you know what, we're not gonna send these people, to Jamaica because Jamaica has a law that says blah blah blah, and Jamaica is objecting to it. What does this mean for other countries? Can they then turn around? And Jamaica is this big in the scheme of things. What about the countries that are like this? Can they then turn around and say to us, hey, we don't want those people here? What does that mean? And then what if they start moving from that issue to other issues as well? Now people start back chatting or start telling us this, start telling us that. It's one thing, in a vacuum when you say, oh, we tell them this and we tell them that. But it's when reality hits you, like when them say, okay, you know what? We have proposed funding in the amount of X to do this and uplift the people, the community, the society, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? We're going to put the brakes on those projects. Right? I'm telling you, the government is in a terrible position because here's what's likely to happen. Either way, if the feeling is we're not going to agree to this thing, we're just going to go ahead and dig our heels in, and we're not letting these two people come here. Now, you'll have a substantial portion of Jamaica who says, yeah. But then you'll have another portion of Jamaica that will say, what the hell just happened? Right? And then you put that on top of that the American government says, okay, all right, fine. You know what? You're sovereign. You can do whatever you want to do. We're sovereign too. We can do what we want to do. Right? And then they start doing things. So that's one. And if the government says, all right, you know what? We're going to agree with the US government. And we're going to let those people come in. It's a problem again in Jamaica for them.
And so, that is why. And
that's why I'm saying to you. That's why I'm saying to you that what they should have done, they should have, if they had real professionals looking at this issue, when it first came out, they would have looked at it and they would have said, okay, we see what the issues are, peripheral and direct. We see what all of these things are. So what we need to do is let's sit down and figure out how we're going to maneuver with this issue. And then let's go over and talk to the US government and see if there's some way we can resolve this. That's what should have happened. But it didn't. And so here we are,
somebody put in the chat room here, and Ian Cook says more than $1 billion US every year from imported food from the United States. Our government is a seller.
You see, a dear friend of mine put here, it says there's no leadership. Say when a clown enters a parliament building, you don't get a government, you get a circus. And that's what's going on here. I've said it before, and I'll say it again without any apology. You have rank amateurs running some of those departments. Specifically, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, rank amateurs running that ministry. This should have never happened. Should have never come to this. This is like an unforced error. This is something that you caused by yourself. Never had to come to this.
This reminds me of when the American government sent out an expedition for Christopher Dudusco. If the then Prime Minister of Jamaica, Bruce Golding, had said that, you know what, I'm going to take a flight to Canada or somewhere there and tell his Attorney General Dorothy Lightburn to sign the extradition papers. When he come back, he knows nothing. I'm going to start red rockers. What he did. Go ahead, Rattigan.
So the gentleman who said I just quoted, who said when a clown enters a parliament building, you don't get a government, you get a circus. He wrote me back and said, "Don't insult amateurs." He said they're talentless. He said they're talentless fools. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I think I'll stick with saying they're rank amateurs. I think I'll stick with that because I don't know who's advising them. I don't know where they're getting their information from. I don't know how they're reading the room, because that's one of the things about being a diplomat. You have to be able to read the room, right? When I say read the room, meaning know who these people are that you're dealing with, right? You have to develop and you have to cultivate relationships so you know how far you can go, right? They are doing the same thing to you too, right? So it's not a one-way street. They're analyzing, they're assessing you, and they're trying to see how far can they go with you. It's one of those games. But the idea that you couldn't see this coming, I don't know.
So tell me now, Wilfred Rattigan, What position you think the government is in right now? What do you think they should do?
Jeffrey, look, that's a tough question. What should they do at this point? It's hard for me to sit here and give you an answer as to what they should do without knowing the relationship that they have with the folks over at the embassy. If the relationship is good, there's one way they can handle it. If the relationship is so, there's another way, and if it's bad, then there's another way as well. So I really would have to get involved and figure out, okay, what's the relationship between the foreign ministry and the embassy, and figure that one out. Because if it's a bad relationship, then there's not much you can do.
Yes, there's. Where's Sir Rattigan? You can't go St. Thomas.
Okay. Well,
No, but look here now, Jeffrey. In the best interest of the Jamaican people, I think the government just need to settle this one because it's called diplomatic relations. It's really a double-edged sword. You have to be a diplomat. You just have to call that one, yeah. Sometimes if you really want to win, you have to lose a battle to win the war. So you just call that one, yeah. You win, them win. Just done the argument.
Hold on there for me. Hold on there. There's a gentleman here is saying that the U.S. ambassador in Jamaica, the U.S. ambassador is a Jamaican born, so that may help. No, my friend. He's working for the American government. So whatever the American government tell him to do, he has to do it.
That listener, that viewer who made that comment, he apparently just joined us, because if he had
no man, he has been with us for a while. He has made some very good. He would have realized that. He would have realized. Well, he might follow up on what you're saying. He must say, he might warp. I think the broader interpretation.
No, but what he said.
Him said, but he's saying that maybe because of what Rattigan just said, maybe if Nick could soften the blow because being a Jamaican.
Okay, I see what he said.
Him can soften the blow. Because again, Rattigan just said it. If you set the stage and you can gauge everybody's temperament in the room, you may be able to have a fulsome conversation. But as I say, my recommendation: lose this battle.
All right. Let me just apologize to Larkland, because I just saw the statement and I see what he's saying. He's saying, "Would this help?" He's asking, "Would this?"
Yeah, it's that. Yeah,
let me explain, Larkland. No. It won't help, because in fact, I'll tell you something, Larkland. This ambassador, he's been scrutinized by his own people. When I say his own people in the embassy, for the mere fact that he's from Jamaica. They're looking at him to see if he's going to take any preferential action. Not just with this, but the moment he came in and they said, "Oh, this guy's a Jamaican," I can tell you that there were cables coming out of Washington about him to people there that he hasn't seen, saying, "Hey, this guy's Jamaican. I was born in Jamaica. Just make sure you keep an eye on this guy." I'm telling you, that's how it works. I'm telling you. The other thing is this. Yes, my brother. Yeah, later. The other thing is this. Don't think that the Americans have long memories. People come and people go, but documentation is always reviewed. And here is something I want you to think about. Don't think that the Americans forgot that Jamaica signed an agreement, had a consensus with its own Caribbean members, CARICOM, that they would support Patricia Scotland. And a few weeks later, they turned and then supported their own people. Don't forget that they know that Jamaica used to depend on Venezuela for oil. Then Jamaica went. So they know that Jamaica wishy-washy. They know, and they know that Jamaica cannot be trusted. They know that.
Ratty, talk about no wishy-washy. They know that the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs is licky and nyami.
So they know there's history out there. So I'm telling you right now that they're looking at all of this and say, we can't trust these people, right? So whatever we're gonna do is we're just gonna do it. And we're not going to make any secret agreements with them, because these people might come out and say something else later on, and embarrass us. So we're just gonna do whatever we're gonna do. So all of the missteps that they've made over the past several years, when they have their meetings, the senior staff meetings, these things will come up. Not will. These things definitely will be discussed. Right? Yeah, it must come up. All of the missteps that they've done over the years. So, you know, look, we don't know how much time you're going to say it, you know, for people to understand that this should have been handled way before it got here. Now, I don't know how she's going to handle it. And then and if you notice something, you know, I mean, how come she's enough? She's everywhere. She's there collecting money for buy vehicles for the police. And we don't see the police personnel there. We don't see the Minister of National Security. We don't see the the police commissioner there. She get herself involved.
You mean twiddly dum dum?
She don't get herself. She get herself involved with a whole bunch of other things. And you have to say to yourself, what is going on with this lady and her ministry? What is going on? You know? And there was talk that she would have been removed, or she was going to be removed. And I heard that there was almost a revolt when they had the meeting before.
Yeah, because the Prime Minister came out at the press conference. The press conference can hardly talk, him begs like a bull, because they tell him, say, look here, we're not going anywhere. It's either us or the highway. We're not going nowhere. We run things. Things not run we. We not sing no song, can't find no way back home. We not sign no undated letter.
Look, if I were sitting in the senior staff meeting and an issue came up, any issue where Jamaica start digging its heels in and say, oh, we're not gonna do this, I'd say to them, look, just do what we have to do. Don't worry about them people, because these people are wishy-washy. And so this is all posturing. What's this? So do you think the US could push for regime change? Well, Larkley, when it says seems, that means the PNP seems willing. I don't know if we have enough evidence to say that is the case, because we just heard from Christopher. Yeah, the gentleman whose name appeared on that fake release, and he didn't give us any indication that his party was in support of or against. In fact, what he said was that he couldn't make a statement about the position of the National Party. I guess because they haven't discussed it and come to terms as to how they're going to address it. So I don't know. This first part of the thing about the regime change, they don't use that word anymore, or that term. They don't use that term regime change anymore. But there are ways that you can get foreign governments to comply.
As they touch on that, Mr. Rattigan, if Jamaica refuse to comply with the United States and they want Jamaica to comply with them, you remember the whole Dudu saga issue when they told the former party leader of the Labour Party and former Prime Minister to pack his bags and go?
Well, yes.
Would they tell this one to pack his bag and go too because of this?
They could easily do that. Plus, not only that, it could spell disaster for people in the diaspora who are members of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, because they're acting in violation of the Foreign Agents Registration Act. So the American government could easily say, okay, you know what? You want to play games? All right, fine. And start arresting these people because they're supposed to file with them and they're not filing. They're not, and for several years now, I've been telling them, listen, you guys need legal counsel, and you need legal counsel's opinion in writing, and you need to at least get an opinion from the FARA unit over at Department of Justice. I've been telling them this for years now. And they just ignore. The US government could easily do that now. They could easily say, all right, fine, you know what? For this nonsense, we're gonna start prosecuting people now. And will the Jamaican government defend them? Will the Jamaican government defend them?
I don't think so. No, knowing how the gentleman there who was at Jamaica Vera, Jeffrey shut him out. That gentleman there with
Well, look, Jeffrey, know people.
Why do we start this conversation by saying shut him out? If what you're saying is in fact enriching this conversation, one of the things beloved with the Love Box and BT, you see, Don't need to get out of this mindset that anybody here, I personally now support the PNP position or the JLP position. I'm supporting Jamaica for Jamaican. And I'm saying to you, gentlemen, stop coming on this program if you're not a director trying to save Jamaica. I love how Jamaica look now. Great. How is that
Look, hold on there, look.
putting food in people's mouth?
Hold on there, look.
You are in love with the looks when I just sent home an elderly lady who cannot find food. You love how roads look. And because of that, you talk about bad mind is active. You are just as guilty as those people who put those black people on those boats with the same color and send them to their death because you love how roads look. Jamaica needs people who love her and is going to put country above pocket, whether you want the PNP or JLP. And that is what we need to say. A decision is being made in the interest of the Jamaican people that might further affect our livelihood and our ability to survive. We're asking our government to basically consider the decisions that they're making in the best interest of the Jamaican people. I'm not asking you to throw out the baby and the bathwater. I'm saying you are not in a position to fight with the American government because they are our biggest supporter. It was no coincidence why Obama was sent here. Obama came to remind us, be careful who not take things from, because we are the biggest supporter. And if we draw the handle now, we're not going to get caught. And that indicated that we, as much as we want to talk about, we are an independent country. We have not built our capital that we can argue with these big dynasties that still have a foothold on us. So all me I say, you don't become pound wise and penny foolish in the decision that the people of Jamaica have not. Because remember me tell you, Camilla can leave Jamaica tomorrow morning and take up residence in the United Kingdom in Europe. Although she was right, Andrew Holness can be given citizenship in another country. What happened to the ordinary Jamaicans who are struggling right now in Jamaica to make two ends meet? And these people are not considering them because they are a joke. They are a joke. They laugh at the suffering of their people. And when they come out and make them comments here, you just further strengthen it. And all you know get the facts here. The Diaspora group is not only that the bloodletting is going to be there. There are children that are being adopted by Jamaicans right now, that the difficulty for those children to come out of adverse situation, like the girl whose father was shot 21 times and a relative is now. All of these things have serious implication for other people. So let us not rush into hasty decision that is going to affect the majority of us. The 1%, you can't be so concerned about the 1%. But road look good. Road look good and man hungry at Jamaica. Road look good and 70 people died in 6 weeks.
Let me say something here. Andrea, Jeffrey Tavares, will not block anybody from this thing. Everybody's entitled to do what they want to say, what they need to do. As what my good friend Luke George has just said, is to go and educate themselves and what is going on.
Mental slavery. 60 years and we're not better off. Go on, man.
We're 61.
We shouldn't be in this situation with the American. We should have said to them, say, we want our money, so we can't talk to. We can't do that. We are still slave to those bigger powers because our licky government on both sides of the fence have sold out the people for a pot of porridge. And all you come when you don't even get a cup. You don't even get a damn cup.
And you know something? I'm gonna make a comment, Wilfred. We don't have any backside. We don't have an Air Jamaica. We don't have nothing. We have sold every almighty God thing in this country. And what we must ask the two political parties in Jamaica, what do we gain from them selling every damn thing? Ask them to sell us, if they sell every one of us. That's what we must ask them. Have they sold the Jamaican people out? Ask Michael Andrew Holness and the People's National Party, PJ Percival James Noel Patterson. Have you all sold the people of Jamaica out? Bruce
All of
Eric
these
Golding.
people, all of
Have
these
you,
people that you're
Portia
talking
Lucretia
about,
Simpson
Jeffrey.
Miller, have you sold the people of Jamaica out? What are talking about? We must listen to me. If America sneeze, God help we.
Hold on a second. There's somebody named General. I think is Rattigan vexed that he did not get a position in the government of Jamaica. No, General.
Yes,
Let
what
me
may I
explain
tell you?
Let me say something.
Low-minded
General,
comments.
let me say, General, it's a public secret, if you want to call it a secret. Everybody know that I applied for the job. And in fact, it was the government of Jamaica who asked me to apply for the job. And it was the government that rejected my application. I don't know why them do that. But anyway, it happened. No,
because they did not want you to come down here to clean up corruption.
Yeah.
They have a lot of things to hide. And because nobody don't have you in them pocket, them don't want you. Because the only people them hire is the people who will say what they want to say. Do you know that when an election is called, do you know when an election is called in this country, Rattigan, you have ministers who order that the ministry paper be burned. So the administration come in have to take at least 2 years to try to piece what was happening in that ministry. And you love your country, and people coming to defend these people.
Well, let me say something to the General. General, I didn't get the job, General. And if you're living in Jamaica, let me ask you a question. You're better off now than when I applied for the job a couple of years ago. You're better off now.
Of course.
As a result of the job of me not getting the job. Are you better off now, General? But just want you to answer yourself. Just want you to answer that, General. Look in at the mirror and ask yourself the question. Because Rattigan never get the job, we're better off in Jamaica. Just ask yourself that question there, right?
Yeah,
and General, me no vex no, General, because General, look behind me, General. You see that place, General? This place here, this is a recent picture, and it hasn't changed much from when I left. That is my first house in a water house. This is the first place I live in a water house, General. And I am willing to do anything, General, to help the government of Jamaica, and I'm willing to do it for free, General. Because guess what happened now, General? I was fortunate enough to come to America and take make use of the opportunities, right? My mother was a maid, right? My father would have worked in a factory and I'm slave so that me could have make something out of myself, which I have. And what I'd like to do, General, is to give back to Jamaica. I want to help Jamaica, but I don't want to help Jamaica on politicians' terms. I don't want anybody control me, right? I'm not beholden to them because they never pay a dime for my school fee or nothing like that, right? So, General, what I want to come back and do is them people here, right? You see how it look now, nobody now there because I picture, but people still live there, General, and people still are suffer. Me hear from them every day. And guess what, General? We have relatives who live there still, right? So I would like to come back, General, and give something to Jamaica. Now, if Jamaica doesn't want it, that's fine. But it doesn't mean that I should just keep my mouth shut and not speak out about the ills of what's going on. Just like Luke George, you can't see the emotion upon the man, right? You can't see him display the emotion because
I want General send something, come help some people. A General have a list for send, come give, and you ask your friend them in the political party why those people. You know what happened, Rattigan, you never say Christopher Tufton finally gave $2 million for a CT scan machine for go down a KPH. You know how long me know a woman need to get that scan and can't afford it. And when me call her to them, I say, sister, them a go buy it. You know what she said to me? Me say, cook, then I when them a go carry it come. Because buying it is one thing, and when it a go come. Because me so dead now. The fact of the matter is that I don't want to come on this program to sound like I have beat up government. But the truth of the matter, none of the two parties has made Jamaica better. We have made some inroad. Don't worry about my blood pressure, BT. Don't worry about it. Me have the tablet here, so me just take it. You understand? Me just take it. So if it go up, it's all right. But we have made some inroad, but we could make it better. And what we're basically saying, we can't make it better under a corrupt system. The two political parties and their supporters support a regime of corruption. Jamaica is dying as a result of that. You know how much people get these medications and cannot take them because they don't have the means of providing food. Do you know the amount of requests for people now who needs operation to be done, including that police woman who needs major operation to be done, but them don't have money, or the people are going back to school, or although the government said the school can't charge school fee, me just get a paper in here so today where say the school say at $20,000 at the contribution. Now imagine if me did have 5 pitney, and in addition to buying high school books now, general, at $60,000. If you don't have $60,000, you can't buy high school book list. That a book list alone. So let us face the current reality. Our country is in a worse off stage as a result of failed policy and failed government, and we need some people to understand. Say there are those of us who out here who just want better, and I say you can get advice. You might not be the brightest and the best, but you're not making the best decision in the interest of the people. And then you have to read a comment where a man say we own a $60 million debt to the United States government. How you can talk to a man when you owe him? Eh? So the
but not only that,
big up on the chest.
But not only that,
some bitch lick, and the poor people them myself like myself.
But not only that, Luke George and Wilfred Rattigan, Jamaica national debt stand at $2 trillion. And I have this to say before you say anything, Rattigan.
And them get 200% increase for salary in a poor country.
Hold on there. You all come on here, Mr. General, and all of you. You know what is going on at the Stations Golden High School? Huh? Where the sexually assault a female teacher and the principal is covering up. When they have students at the Stations Golden High School having threesome and foursome, and a current PE teacher right now who sexually assault the young ladies and breed them, and the same principal covering it up. You're talking about Jamaica. Listen to me, now make a start in this evening.
No, but mind your blood pressure.
My blood pressure, all right.
Hold on with the medication.
I'll throw the medication.
But thanks, freedom. Just send me the exercise plan. May I drink plenty water, but the heat brethren, I've been having no AC.
This country could be better off, but we allow these criminals, these two gangs in the House of Parliament to rape the economy of this country. You have people right now who their lands are going, they don't know where the lands is going, where the lands authority is thieving people land and giving out fake. Listen to me. You know this show? George, take over.
No, you know what happened? You know, on a program like this, I wish, it is my fervent hope that Jamaicans would come together around the issues. We can, when you start get personal and I say, oh, I'm vexed because I'm not getting the job. Me look like me vexed.
Like you're hungry.
Yeah, me look like somebody.
Them not even see a nice house in the suburb.
You look like somebody.
Yeah,
you look like somebody.
We not have nothing for do. We come by yourself for feed with ego. For talk about the people them. Look here, right now, everybody are drawing their money out of NCB. Everybody in Jamaica asks what I go on.
Is it that NCB
as you speak? Look, everybody is drawing out their money left, right, and center, and people not even going to deposit their money because Jamaicans are concerned that there's an undercurrency happening in the country. Nobody is telling the citizen. We look at the SLA situation and we're asking ourselves, is there further damage to come that we are not aware of? And everybody's in a tizzy. So right now, some man go to Sagicor today. The line long for us to open my account at Sagicor because everybody asks now, where is the safest place to go save your money? The little money where you put down for your burial. Well, there are some of us who don't have accounts. So you see, if you're living outside of Jamaica and you look at 70 deaths in a short space of time, and you ask yourself, say, all right, 70 this in this short period of time, crime is totally out of control. There's seemingly no end to crime. Is this going to be our new reality? And I've always been against the thought, Rattigan, that we are knocking down the doors of Haiti. Because I believe that we have bright people. When you look at the people who participate in this chat room, but how is everybody's idea coming in so that we can further arrest the country that has seemingly gone way out of control, as them would have said, the ass gone down through the gate, so it can be controlled. How we can at this time solve the crime problem and give Jamaican and outside of Jamaica the confidence, and then start building on our institution of health, economy, and education, making those solid and making sure so our farmers are importing and what we are not are importing, and that we're not consuming all of these foreign products. We need to build those, and that is the real conversation that we need to have, and it can happen. But look here, it has got to take the collective will, and as Rattigan rightfully said, our governments are too arrogant, they do not want to listen, and there are people out there that have a wealth of knowledge. A man on this program work internationally. Everybody here have a wealth of knowledge. How are you factoring that in creating policies that are going to render us the ability to feel safe in our country, give people the confidence that them can reinvest? Look here, big company in Jamaica broke in a Jeffrey. One big company, one man come to me in tears yesterday, say, at 2 months now, him not get paid now, because the company is in problem. At 2 months, him not get paid, and if me call that the name, it would have make people start one and panda go on. The man is in tears because him not get paid. And people are not talking about what is facing, the hardship that is facing the Jamaican people.
Of Jamaica. This is
Yeah,
the
and then you want
prosperity that Michael Andrew Holness and the Labour Party promised the Jamaican people. Prosperity, shower labor rights.
look. No, you see, when you make them something there, you know, me have to agree with Rattigan, you know, because one of the things, you know, me that love a prime minister come and say, look, me not have all of the answers, you know, but every Jamaican have to now come together and make Jamaica the priority. I would love to see the guy or the girl who has that mantra that is going to put party over. You know, the saddest thing is that them say Portia, to her, it's not sad. To her credit, them say Portia was one of the most beloved prime minister who really understand the need for the poor right across the political landscape. We need somebody who love Jamaica and who is going to put Jamaica above political party, because right now, brethren, it rough. It is rough out here.
You have interrupted?
No, let me say something here. That
I can't hold on the rat. I can't go to beach because I not pay for going to no beach. Now send me go no beach. I not pay at 2 beach. I go up on the weekend and I have to pay. I not pay in my country for go no beach. So I can't go beach. Can't go beach in Jamaica. I not pay for going to nowhere. Seriously.
Okay.
yeah, no, like I was saying, is like, you know, a very, very close and dear friend to me said, don't make insufferable people drag you up on the internet. But and that's true. But here's the thing. What I'm inviting people, right, with a perspective to come on a program like this, come on my program, any program. But when you come with a view towards discussing the issues with a solution. But when you come and you say stuff like, oh, I'm vexed because him not get the job. And then you ask yourself, well, because him not get the job, how is my life improved because him not get the job? It makes absolutely no sense. We could discuss issues. We could come around and we started out talking about the issue about what will the Jamaican government do at this point, considering that they're in a tussle with the U.S. government. And Luke George, I think I said it better than anybody else that I've heard discuss this issue about the whole context of Jamaica in relation to the U.S. in terms of how much they owe, how they act, what the repercussions will be, you know. So when you come on the program, please just bear with me. Just come with an issue. I may talk about the issue. We may disagree. In fact, I may learn something from you. I can't learn when you tell me, say, me not get no job, and that's why I'm vexed. How is that gonna solve the problem that we're faced with right now? So bring a solution and make we discuss solutions, and then make we disseminate the solutions. Maybe our leaders are listening to this.
Not only that, Wilfred Rattigan. Since you don't get the job, is Jamaica crime problem down? Is it better off?
We never want to go to we never want to go to but here's the thing. Another viewer said the debt.
Andrea, hold on, Andrea. What do you mean they have free beach in New York? Must come.
So what?
No, Andrew said not Luke. They are free in New York.
Ratty lend me a visa. And that the woman I try to tell you is that, but down here suffer.
So
I
she
love
love
her.
Tell Ratty for lending you one visa.
No. But put fun and joke aside, Jeffrey. Are we in a position to be in war with the United States right now? No. Are we defending the position of the United States? We don't agree with it. But listen, until we can sufficiently stand on our own, we are going to be dependent on other people. And Jeffrey, we not for go around it. We're gonna tell with this. He who pays the piper call the tune. Don't make a big thing out of this, because the truth of the matter right now, if the geology department of the university said, based on the trend of the earthquake that we're seeing, Jamaica is now likely to see a massive disaster. If that disaster takes place, who is it that we're going to turn to for the greatest aid?
Sure to hell, not England.
Right.
Sure to hell, not England.
So, you ever hear your granny say, kiss the stinking ass until you can kick it?
Right.
There you go.
Right. And then life itself is not either or. It's sometimes it's down the middle. That's why you have arbitration. That's why you have mediation. That's why you have a meeting of the minds where people that disagree on the issue, but somehow they find a middle ground that they can say, okay, I don't get everything I get, you don't get everything you get, but we can live with this decision and we'll move on. Let me just say one quick thing here. Another listener says that the debt was $2 trillion in 2013. Today it is 2.2 trillion, but they spent 3 trillion servicing the debt, meaning paying off the interest and all of that stuff. And also the same viewer asked about the diaspora thing. Let me just quickly say what happens is that there's something called the Foreign Agents Registration Act in the United States, and it says essentially that if you're a U.S. person, meaning that if you live in the U.S., if you're legal, if you're a green card holder or a U.S. citizen, and you're doing business with foreign entities, you have to report that to the U.S. government. And it goes back to way back, it has to do with spying, right? So they said, okay, what you have to do is you have to let us know what you're doing. No, I have a friend who all she's doing is doing some publishing for one of the parties in Jamaica. And what does she do? I don't know if she heard me saying it, but what she did do is she went to the Department of Justice and they said, yes, you have to report that. And all she's doing is just putting out little flyers. And she's reporting. Every time a flyer goes out, she has to report that. Then she has her I think every 6 months, because it's a continuing relationship, she has to update her information. No, the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council was established by this government in 2020. And what it is, it's a combination of people appointed and elected. So what happens is they have meetings, regularly scheduled meetings, directed by the embassy, directed by a foreign government. That's how the U.S. looks at it, right? They have, and the agenda is driven by the Jamaican government. The meetings are scheduled by the Jamaican government. Everything is just controlled completely. Now, those people have to report to the U.S. government, the ones who are living in the U.S., having these meetings, discussing these issues. They're supposed to report to the U.S. government saying, we have a relationship with our foreign government, even though they're Jamaicans, but they're also U.S. persons. So they have to say, we have a relationship with our foreign government, and here are the things we're discussing. They have to report that. They have not been doing it, and I've been beating the drum, telling them that they need to get somebody who's intimately familiar with the Foreign Agents Registration Act, the regulations, and have that person speak to the U.S. government on their behalf, Department of Justice, get something in writing, and that way they're covered. Because if they continue doing business like this, you never know when the U.S. government is going to flip that switch and say, okay, you know what? We know that there's something called the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. We know that there are people in America meeting with them, discussing all kinds of issues, and we know that they haven't reported that. So now we're going to prosecute them, and the fines are stiff. If you do it unknowingly, I think it's like $500,000. I think it's like $25,000 and 6 months in prison. If you know you're supposed to do it and you don't do it, then I think it's like 5 years and $250,000. Who the hell wants to do that? Who wants to expose himself?
Andrew is not coming to John Smith. Not gonna help them pay for it, you know.
No, the fines are. I may not be absolutely correct with the fines, like I just mentioned, the criminal and civil penalties, but they're steep, and you have to ask yourself the question: why would I want to do this for a government that's not even going to defend me? They're not going to defend. They don't even try to defend me by saying, "Look, let's get a legal opinion on this, and then let's give it to everyone." So, for the viewer, that is in a nutshell. That's what the Foreign Agents Registration Act and the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, that's how they intersect, because they're supposed to report and they're not reporting. And
you know, I am here, listening to you, Mr. Rattigan, and I'm getting some information that it is very, very, very sad. Information about having a program tomorrow evening or sometime. Part 2 of the station's golden sexual cover. And as we sit here talking about the Foreign Affairs Ministry and whatever, I am getting information. It's very disturbing. Very disturbing. And this is not a lie. This is not a lie. And I'm saying on this program tonight again, the principal of the station's golden high school, you need to come clean. The PE teacher of the station's golden high school, you need to come clean. Students are coming to me of some sexual things going on at that school and other people. We have a sleeping Minister of Education, you know. We have a sleeping Minister of Education. But tomorrow program is going to be greater and better. Join me tomorrow. Mr. Rattigan, all of this that is going on between America and Jamaica, you think they're going to revoke some visa from some of those big hierarchy people in government?
all right, let me just say that everything that's going on in Jamaica, almost everything when it comes to corruption, the U.S. government knows about it. They have the sources strategically placed all over the islands, all over the island. And some of those sources, they're American, some of them they're Jamaican, some of them they're third country nationals.
Yes.
Right? So they know everything.
Yeah.
They can pull the rug out from this government or any government whenever they want. All of these people who have committed acts of corruption and them think nobody don't know, think again. It's just it's just given the right set of circumstances, the information will be leaked. Right? Or worse yet, that people will be arrested. Right? So you don't this is like stirring up ants' nest. That's what this is. This is like stirring up, ants' nest. You don't want to do this. So the idea of how do we address this? All I can say is that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, what she needs to do, if she hasn't done so yet, she needs to get her team. And I wouldn't suggest a big team either. Just maybe one person. Right? And just go over and sit with the ambassador and his country team. Actually, no, his senior staff. And figure out a way as to how to resolve this issue. Because you cannot, the idea that Jamaica is punching way above its weight, that might be good when you talk about athletics. That might be good when you talk about music. That might be good when you talk about food. That might be good when you talk about, entertainment, natural resources. But when it comes to diplomacy, when it comes to politics, international politics, that's not the case. At least not now. Right? And so they better be careful what they're doing, because they're playing a game and they really don't know the intricacies of the rules. They don't.
Mr. Rattigan, continue talking for me. The alarm at this house went off.
Well, you need to turn it off before the police show up, so.
Yeah.
So I can't see the chat room, so I don't know what's being said. I'm just depending on Jeff and Luke to tell me what's going on. But what we need to do is, again, folks, what we need to do is we need to come together as Jamaica. We need to stop this tribalism. We need to come together and figure out how we can make our country better under this administration or any administration, right? And I've said it time and time again that if asked to participate in any capacity, I'll gladly do it, and I'll do it for free because I believe in Jamaica. I believe in the Jamaican people. Jamaica is my foundation. Jamaica gave me the start that I needed to get to where I am. And I need to give back to my country. But you can't, it's hard to give back when people start attacking you personally. They're not looking at the issue. And so I keep hoping that we'll have a more mature Jamaican population, in the sense that when we start talking about issues, we start talking about issues and solutions. We're not talking about people. My fight is that, and some people said, "Oh, my fight is coming." No, my fight is not against the minister in a personal capacity, because anybody who occupied her position and did what she did, I would have gone after them with equal force. So it's nothing personal against her. I'm not against the politician. I'm against the actions of the politician. So anybody who sat there would have faced exactly what she's facing right now.
And what we must do also, Mr. Rattigan, is make this clear on this program here, that the People's National Party should gain state power tomorrow morning. And they're going out with the whole bangarang same way. We will not shut our mouth, We'll continue to talk about it too. Because we're not here to promote any political party. As I keep on saying, we came to this rock by labor pain, not by aeroplane, nor party pain. We are Jamaicans and we must remain Jamaicans. We must stop this PNP and JLP thing. The country is going on a slippery slope and of no return. You have schools in this country that teacher sexually assaulting the next teacher and the principal covering it up. The same school, children running battery on each other, and the principal knows about it and do nothing about it. In that same school, the PE teacher sexually assaulting young girls and getting pregnant, and the same principal does nothing about it. Those are things going on in this country. Jamaica first, not political party.
Look, the gentleman you had on, for those of you who joined us late, the gentleman you had on, Christopher Henry.
Yes.
That's my godson, right? And Christopher is in the PNP party. I'm not a member of the PNP party. I'm not a member of the JLP party. I'm not a member of the UIC. And should the PNP come to power and let's say, fortune smiles on him and they make him Minister of Foreign Affairs, the same things that I'm doing right now, I would do against him. Same thing, because you know why? Principle. I remember there's a gentleman who came to work with me in the Middle East, and I sat him down when he came in the office, and I said to him, "Look, let me tell you something right now. Here are the rules, and we abide by the rules. And if you step outside the rules, I will not give you preferential treatment, no matter how close we are as friends."
Yes.
Right? I said, our friendship ends at that point when you start acting outside the rules. And he looked at me and he said, "You expect that of me? I expect that of you. You act outside the rules, I will do the same thing to you." And we are not understanding. And to this day, that man and I were very, very close. Very, very close because of principle. We never let our friendship influence our principles. Never. So that is what we need to talk about. We need to talk about what are the principles that we're trying to espouse? What are the things that we're trying to do besides or despite our political affiliation, right? I don't have any political affiliation except that I want Jamaica to be the best Jamaica it can be. And if it happens under the PNP, fine. If it happens under the JLP, fine. If it happens under the UIC, fine. If it happens wherever. But we need to hold people accountable so that our people can prosper. When the government prospers, they say a rising tide lifts all ships, the entire country will prosper. Then you'll see how many diasporans start run back home to invest and to retire and to live out the rest of their lives. Lots of people want to come back home, but they can't come back home now.
I have a political profession, what they want to call it, Rattigan. You know what I have? I came here by labor plane, not by aeroplane. That's what I came here by. No, man. The principal of the Stations Golden High School is running a set shop.
You know many Jamaicans I know living in South Florida just waiting for things to turn so they can come back home. You know how many? Lots. You know how many of them I know in the Washington, D.C. area? Lots. You know how many of them I know in the tri-state area, New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey? Lots. They're just sitting there waiting for a change. That they can say, okay. And they're not looking for a complete change, you know. They're just looking for some change that they can say, okay, I can see where an effort is being expended and I can see some meaningful changes taking place. They're not.
I like how you touch on the word change. Mr. Rattigan, the Jamaican people need change, yes. But the change that we seek as a people, and I keep on saying this, will never come from the People's National Party or the Jamaica Labour Party or the UIC or the Never Dare Move or the NDM. It will never, ever come from those people. It has to come from us as a people. We are the change that we seek in this country. We are the change that we demand in this country. And until we, Jamaicans, we, the people, stand up and say enough is enough. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Wilfred Rattigan. We'll be here talking till we're blue in the face. If the people in Jamaica don't stand up and say, we will not accept what is going on. We will not accept the idea of the political elites. It's quiet. We will not accept the idea that the government is quiet about the SSL saga. We will not accept the fact that the government is quiet about crime and violence in this country. The change that we seek lies in our hands. We, the people, are the change.
And you know what? And there are plenty of issues that we can come together on common ground. You know, the beach issue, the issue of violence, the issue of health, the issue of education. There are plenty of issues that Jamaicans can come together and put aside their political differences. And the Constitution. That's another one, right? Where we can come together as a people and say, look, we want to do something that's in the best interest of our people. Put the political thing aside. And first, like you've always said, when you were born in Jamaica, you weren't born JLP or PNP, you were born a Jamaican. Country first.
We came to this rock by labor pain, not by aeroplane, nor party pain, nor party giving out $5,000 or $10,000 for a vote. Our parents or our mother carry us for 9 livelong months. And we must sit down in this country and accept what is going on, Jamaicans. Huh? I want to know done in the comment here talk about Rattigan never get the job, that's when they go answer. Is Jamaica better off? Since Rattigan don't get the job. Since Wilfred Rattigan didn't get the job as Commissioner of Police, is Jamaica better off in crime and violence? Huh?
Well, since me not get the job, am I the reason why the US now have in a row with Jamaica over this assignment of this person because me never get the job? Since me never get the job, am I the reason why the hospitals never get the CT, the scanners, and all the other things that they need to function as a viable health service industry, whatever you want to call. Am I the reason for that? Since Wilfred Rattigan never get a job, am I the reason why the education system is in shambles? Since I never get the job, is that the reason why we don't have good roads? Because I didn't get.
No, you must ask the question. Since you never get the job, are you the reason why the members of the police force are getting their salary? Are you the reason why the female police officer travel from Jamaica to New Jersey
Right.
to get a transplant for a liver? And until now, she haven't gotten it, she have to go back to Jamaica. Are you the reason why?
Yeah, it would sound like I'm the reason for all of these things. If people are saying that me vex coming and get the job and me have an issue and whatnot. People, let me be absolutely clear. I have no issues with it, right? And because I'm fine. I'm fine. In fact, I guarantee you that a lot of the people who make them kind of remarks, they're not fine. They're not fine. A lot of them who make the remarks. And listen, I will live to see the day, because it's happened before where some of the same people who make those remarks, them come to me seeking guidance, assistance, counsel, a whole bunch of things. And then once them start talking to them, say, why, we never know. I say, okay, I understand. But I'm fine. Give me General. I'm fine, General. So
Luke George, are you there? Luke is always in the background helping, you know. Luke George Cook is always in the background helping people. People come my house all hours of the night for help. And we come on this platform talking nonsense about Jamaica this and Jamaica that. While 2 million people is dying for hunger in this country. Huh?
Yeah, 2 million people every night.
And gunmen shooting down people like Blackbird in this country. While Minister Harris Chang can drive around in his Prado and Range Rover, all they can hear we want to give away. Huh? And a Prime Minister who is in a bubble with a Governor General who only go around and nyam is in a bubble. Huh? A GG who is ceremonial and go around and open places and nyam. Only talking about the country. Listen to me. You must look on yourself, man, and stop talking about we are PNP or JLP and think about this piece of rock. Think about this piece of rock. Every single year there's a drought in this country. What have successful government done or do to help the people of St. Elizabeth who provide the food for the people of this country? Every day you hear about St. Elizabeth not having the water. Huh? In 21st century Jamaica, we don't have any water in our pipes. And yet we're 61 years old. And yet we're talking about a 23rd division. To live and work where?
I remember they talked about in 2016 in the manifesto. They said that they're going to build ponds, build dams, and the water issue will be a thing of the past.
And
that's
I
what
know.
they said in 2016.
And I know.
Well,
we are in a crisis in this country. And if we do not, if we the people, we the favorite few, we the people of this country, do not put a stop in for this, then I do not know what sort of Jamaica we're going to leave for our children. Go ahead.
Very dear friend of mine just said, it would be preferable for me to say I would gladly assist without compensation. They don't like the word free. They want it free.
Yeah.
They want me offer my services for free. But all right, fine. I'll say 2 ways, because you have some people who you have to reach out to all segments of the society. For those of you who want it prim and proper, I, Wilfred Rattigan, I'm committed to providing Jamaica with whatever assistance I can, particularly with my experience in foreign affairs and also with law enforcement. Gladly do it without compensation. I'll gladly do it without compensation. And for some of the other people, me do it for free. Free. So, because at this point, it's just passion. Just the passion and the desire to see people survive, and people thrive, right? I'm not promising people that I'm going to take them from poor to middle class. I don't have the power to do that. But what I can do is I can provide you with information. Hopefully you'll find it invaluable. Hopefully you'll find it useful, and you'll put it to good use in the sense that you'll benefit from it. Not just put it to good use in terms of just listening to the message, but I need you to hearken to the message. I need you to listen to it and then put it into practice. And I'm always available. People call me morning, noon, and night. You know, I know somebody who's watching is going to say, you know, you have to be careful with the access thing and you have to put up your boundaries and things like that. And it's true, but it just hard for me to take myself from my people. Them hard. Maybe if I came from a different place, it would be easy, but it's just difficult. Hard. To some degree, I just simply refuse to do it. But I understand the concern because there's only one of me, there's only one of all of you. And so you have to do things in moderation. You just can't act like you're going to live forever and you can't do everything. You cannot do everything. Somebody put that in the thing here. So Rattigan, you can't solve all of the problems. And that's absolutely true. But the ones that I think I can, I will. So, you know. All right, no, let's stop.
You know, it is a very good discussion, and every time we come on here, we have so many humors of, you know, maybe what somebody may say in the chat room, or our friends may text us on our phones and whatever will. But at the end of the day, we have one common aim and objective: Jamaica. That picture you have on your screen there behind you is Waterhouse. I know Waterhouse. And Wilfred Rattigan know what it's like to go to his bed hungry. So like myself, not because I'm a Tavares. We know what it's like to have a tin mackerel. I remember a friend of mine in the Cayman Islands, Dr. Sidney Orville Banks, look at me one day and said to me, Jeffrey, I went to medical school and I remember Christmas Day one year. Only thing he had was a tin of mackerel and a hard dough bread. That was his Christmas dinner. And I've never ever forgotten that. And nobody knew. Nobody knew. So when you see us come on here, not because we may be a Wilfred Rattigan, you may be a former FBI agent, may say, okay, yeah, come up in a society. No. And not because I'm a Jeffrey Tavares or a Tavares or the family of Tavares is in politics or whatever, and they're from the Vumva of society, and the upper class of Upper Sandandra. I know what it's like to go to my bed hungry.
What, Jeffrey, is it because you are a part of the Vumva and the Vumva that them don't like you?
Well, I don't care who like me from who don't like me. No.
Who care? Anyway,
And nobody not put on my head on a chicken back by fire.
Facebook is not my favorite social media page. I do it for the like, I do it for the love. Look here, we all have a responsibility to save this broken but promising country called Jamaica. I salute the commitment of Rattigan, Jeffrey Tavares, and all the people who are listening. It shows that there are more of us who love this rock. Again, I say, it is time that you, Jeffrey Tavares, you, Rattigan, lead the charge and lead the way by pulling together work groups, whether people are going to come and growth and economy, whether you have people who have strength in education, we must come up with policy papers to counteract the inaction of the government, or else we too are guilty of becoming a talk shop. Rattigan has led a charge in terms of the legal affairs. I would love to see somebody take up the health sector.
I was just going to talk about that. Luke, hold a minute. Remember what I'm going to say. Mr. Rattigan.
Yes, sir.
The Jamaican Diaspora have a thing they call the Jamaican Diaspora Crime Task Force, eh?
Yes.
You have a lot of influence in that area. You and Herb Nelson Jr. Couple nights ago, we were in a program here with Dr. Rupert Francis, and Luke George mentioned something, and he mentioned it again. It's the same way you are organizing the legal fund.
You mean like, but say that again. I'm not quite sure I understood the question.
No. It's the same way you're organizing the legal fund.
Mm-hmm.
I think the diaspora must lead a charge. The Crime and Prevention Task Force must lead a charge to organize a health fund. Far too long. We don't have a burn center in Jamaica. All right?
That's true.
And our people, when they want liver transplant and kidney transplant and so forth, they have to come to the United States. Sometimes they have no money. They have to beg. So I believe what we need to do in the diaspora, led by a Herb Nelson Jr. or Rupert Francis, have organized something where we have, like, a dinner in aid of the health fund for Jamaica. You understand what I'm talking about, Will?
Yeah, you know what? That's I think now that you mention it, I wasn't think of it in a broad perspective like that. But you're right. You could pick a sector. And people could just come together and say, okay, we're going to do a legal, a foundation for that particular sector. Look, they have a tremendous amount of doctors, not only in America, but the UK and Canada. People involved, not only doctors, but people involved in the medical profession. That if they got together and said, okay, we're going to come up with a foundation, that we're going to deal with just the medical sector, the health sector,
Yes.
it would be a tremendous boost.
Boy.
But you know what people would start say? They'd say, can we trust handing these things to the politicians?
No. We're not giving it to two. Hold on there. We will not give it to two gangs, the two criminal gangs in the parliament. We will not give it to them. When we organize ourselves for a health fund, if we hear that Aunt Mary, Dr. Waterhouse, need a transplant, we must have enough funds to say, okay, we organize ourselves, we get the doctors up here, we get the hospital up here, and we say, okay, Aunt Mary, if she must get a visa, we try go to the American embassy to get a visa for her to come up.
Make Rattigan get one.
No. Be careful, you want to give a visa. Man, come look for me.
They give a visa.
No, but you know what? That is an outstanding idea.
But Rattigan, Rattigan, what I'm a little bit surprised of. Over the years, the diaspora, and I said it to Jeffrey the other day, the diaspora too is guilty of something. Too far too long, them hug up the Jamaican government. And everybody come down here want national award.
Sure.
And who come down here have them ulterior motive. Under the JDIP program, a lot of people from the diaspora took out those money funds, never paid it back because they ran some faults, they ran some failed business. And they too have robbed Jamaica. And so there's an ambiguity to them. But yet still, they are the most dynamic set of group. We talk about Europe, Canada. I hear that to have people in some remote places of the world. Now, if you could sector by sector, look at it. Choose 7 sectors that you don't want to revitalize. And really pay attention there, Will. Look at the impact it will have in Jamaica. And that is why I said to Dr. Francis, why don't you get Dan Anderson to do a poll on the impact of the diaspora? To get a feel from Jamaicans, how Jamaicans feel about what the diaspora has been doing on their behalf over the years. And you'd be surprised to know that there are a lot of Jamaicans that don't even know what this diaspora is all about. But let us fast track that. You really want to make an impact in Jamaica? Crime, health, education, economic growth, and entrepreneurship, housing, renewable energy. I heard a guy from the UK Diaspora made a brilliant presentation, Rattigan, on why school appears so much. Why don't we just take a loan and put up solar panel for every school? So the money where they must spend in a school could go back into material and
Yeah,
feeding more hungry
that's
belly
Dr.
children.
Lennon.
Yeah, Doctor, I
Lennon,
think
yeah.
it's the same one that I asked you for his number. Somebody wants to talk to him,
Oh, Dr.
right?
Lennon. Okay. Am I listening now? Am I listening to the program right now? So you can do an outreach to him. Doc, some people want your number. I can't give them the number, Doc. Just text me and let me know now. Because he and I we're texting right now.
Right. So the fact of the matter is that there is a lot that can be done. And I believe that if the forward thinking people outside of Jamaica who really love this country, I want to do something, all we have to do is get together. Let Dr. Lennon lead the charge on renewable energy. Let Rattigan lead the charge on crime and legal affairs. Let Jeffrey Tavares lead the charge on social and development issue. Get the task force together, because I'm telling you, the Jamaican government is bankrupt. They have no more ideas. They're just looking for their paycheck. A local government which is constitutionally in the election cannot, because them can't find money. But how did you find money to send a large contingency to something that we know we couldn't win? Why were we even it when we are there arguing with the European for repatriation money? And if the money come, I want my one in my hand. Me no want my money can go in a government pocket. Because if we could have got pick a fight with Shaggy, who was raising millions of dollars for the first children hospital in the English-speaking Caribbean, you just tell me that you do not deserve to lead. You cannot pick a fight with a man who get all those international artists to come down here. And look now, one man a come and skybox a 1.5 billion. And people are going to skybox in a Jamaica. But the majority of Jamaica have to live tonight knowing that they're going to go to bed without a proper meal. They have to live that. They have to go to hospitals that do not have any equipment. They have to go to schools where if them duns, them coming out, they can calling themselves fully duns. Our women have to now live out the term that them living out them soft life, because them go and look at Will Rattigan, a man who is married already, have his kids, but have a career and have a visa. So him go and help her. She will provide some sex and he help her with some money. The reality is that we're not inspiring our people to see their greatness anymore. Una Rob Usain Bolt, that should be a national disgrace that everybody should have come out and say, the man we're born in a poverty, run, work hard for. Every time I come on that program, robbery in clear daylight. So what more you want? Them go and rob Uno. So I want someone to get robbed. But before I get robbed, please do donate to several early childhood basic school. Everyone I want to have them there now in the community. Health centers in there can be helped. Primary schools can be helped. You have no excuse as a Jamaican to continue to believe that government is going to deliver the hope and the aspiration of the Jamaican people. And Jeffrey Tavares is a done deal. Go make better decision in the interest of the Jamaican. Because you don't sell me out to Patifa. You don't
Me
sell me out
sell
to
out?
Patifa. No, not you, Jeffrey.
I'm just
We
kidding.
have been sold on the PNP side. Nobody now open my door. Nobody now lock it. There are nobody here that beg them for my dinner. So look here, from PNP and JLP side, the whole owner sell out. The Jamaican people should be far better than what we are now.
Let me say
Go
something.
ahead, Lou. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, somebody screenshot a good friend of mine screenshot this thing from Rob Thomas. And if I read him said, Rattigan, what makes you so sure that you would reduce crime? A crime plan won't reduce crime. The government alone cannot reduce crime. The people need to do their part. Not sure how to take that question, but let me take it this way. What makes me so sure that I would be able to reduce crime? Well, the first thing is experience. My mother used to tell me, self-praise is no recommendation, but I've learned in my adult life that if you don't toot your own horn, a lot of times people won't toot it for jealousy, for all kinds of reasons. So I'm going to toot my horn now. Let me just tell you this, Rob Thomas. the experience that I have forgotten since I left the FBI is more than the combined high command, including the police commissioner. Think about what I just done say now. Think about what I just done say. What I have forgotten is much, 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 much more than all them people combined. All of them, without exception. You know why? Because I've traveled the world in a law enforcement capacity. I've seen things that they have seen, and I've seen things that they haven't seen, and I've seen things that they will never see in terms of issues and resolution. That's number one. Number two is I bring a passion to this job. I don't do this for money. I bring a passion to this. Every time I come inside of this room to do a broadcast, I make this backdrop you see here. That is my inspiration, because that's where most of the suffering is taking place, right? You know, the garrison communities, on the underserved communities. That's where most of the suffering is taking place, and that give me the inspiration. I already have it, but that is like a reminder that do not, no matter how high you get, do not forget. Do not forget where you came from. Do not forget them people out, right? 3 is that I wouldn't surround myself with the people and with the police commissioner surround himself with. In fact, when I applied for the job, I have some world-class talent that these people are coming with me to Jamaica, right? And if you not see what I'm going to do, if you not only hear what we're going to do, but these people are people who have been tried and tested globally. I was coming with people from all over the world, one from here, one from Africa, one from these people who committed and said, we're coming to help you to clean up your homeland, right?
And our own Herb Nelson Jr. was coming down too.
Exactly. Herb would be there. Another thing is that when you talk about a crime plan, what the government of Jamaica has done, and I don't know why people they're not listening to me carefully. The Prime Minister has made it abundantly clear that his crime plan is a national security plan, and it's called Plan Secure Jamaica. There's no such thing as a crime plan. We keep asking, where's the crime plan? You're not going to get one. Just Google Plan Secure Jamaica and read it. The Prime Minister talks about it every single time he gets a chance to do his sectoral presentation in Parliament. He talks about Plan Secure Jamaica. The Minister of National Security talks about it. There's no crime plan coming Jamaica. Jamaicans, whether you're living in Jamaica or outside, there is no crime plan coming. One of the reasons is that a crime plan must be measurable, attainable, and reasonable. You have to have fixed dates in there. You have to have fixed percentages as to how much you plan to reduce crime and all of this. The reason why they won't do it is because when they fail, the opposition is going to abuse that to beat them. So they use language that is susceptible to change. Like, for example, they say, we hope to do this, we plan to do this, we wish to do this. They don't say we are going to do this in this fiscal year. We're going to reduce crime by 5%. That's our target. They don't do that, right? And they may do it for one thing, but they don't do it as how a crime plan should be constructed. So when you say, can a crime plan help in terms of addressing crime? Of course. But you have to have one, Rob, that is measurable, attainable, reasonable, and one that is published. And what do I mean by published? Getting to the second part of your thing now, where you say you have to use police alone cannot fight crime. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. You need community policing. But tell me, are you seeing community policing in Jamaica? Are you seeing it? I've seen community policing. I've seen community policing fail, and I've seen community policing succeed. I wasn't bringing the failure one come to Jamaica because it's already there. That's not the one I was bringing.
But Mr. Rattigan,
yeah.
Let me ask this question, sir. If they're not paying members of the JCF what they're supposed to be paid, you think the members of the JCF will be working to solve Jamaica's crime problem?
Well, here's the thing. A place like Japan, and I've been there, I've worked with them, right? It's an honor. It's a privilege.
You mean the Japanese necklace then?
For the Japanese, they consider it a privilege for them to work in law enforcement. right? They don't do it for the money. They get paid, but they don't do it for the money. They do it for country, right? They do it for family, community, country, right? There are other places in the world where I've been where people, even if you gave them nothing, they would show up and they would still work because the government is functional. The government will take care of them, right? No, in Jamaica, the government is not taking care of people and they're not paying the policemen proper remuneration. So you have a double negative going on there. So what happens?
Go ahead, finish.
Yeah. So what happens is that you don't have anybody who really. You have very few people. You do have some, but there are very few people who actually join the JCF because of a sense of belonging. Meaning that they're not going to join it and then, get a little position and go to another country. They join it because of nationalism. They join it because of patriotism. They join it because they want to do good for their community and they believe in their country. Very few people like that. Very few people. I tell you something. The FBI, people join the FBI not because of the money. People join the FBI because they want to belong to an organization that they believe is doing the right thing at the right time for the country. That's why in my class alone, in 1987, there was a guy who and there were several of them. In fact, I was one of the few who got a pay raise from my old job to the FBI. The overwhelming majority of them, they took a pay cut. There's one guy, when we were getting paid $30-something thousand, there's a guy who was getting over $150,000. This guy was driving a Ferrari. He was doing quite well. And I asked him, I said, why would you give up all of that? And he said, because I just feel like this is where I belong. I want to fight crime. I want to do something for my country. And that was an overwhelming sentiment. And they do a very good job at selecting people for that. You don't just run in and hide that. They do a very good job. You can't say the same thing about Jamaica, about the selection process.
True.
So to answer Rob's question, those are some of the things that by no means is that the complete list, but those are some of the things that I believe. And also, if you don't believe that you're confident to do the job, Rob, then you have no business taking that job. I am supremely confident that if I were given that opportunity, we wouldn't have this problem that we have right now. And even if they put me in there tomorrow, we won't have this problem. You have to, first of all, you have to be skilled, you have to be competent, and you have to have all of the experience, but you also have to be confident and you have to be passionate. And those are things you can't really teach people.
Yes. There's a question in the chat. Sorry. You finished?
Go ahead, please.
There's a question in the chat room by one of our listeners and viewers. And remember, by the way, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Click that bell icon to know when I'm live. Like, share, and subscribe. Send it all over to your friends and family. The lady's asking, what step can we do to take down the government at this moment, Mr. Rattigan?
Take down the government?
In other words, what step can they do as a Jamaican citizen to say, look here?
Jeffrey, I don't think we need to respond to that. And it is to your own detriment. We're not trying to take down the government. We're empowering the people to make a choice. I don't want nobody to say I'm participating in anarchy, but if you look at the page of the crime plan, it talks about the 6 committees.
Okay, you find the plan secure Jamaica thing, eh?
Yeah, man. But look here. Go ahead. This is the problem in Jamaica. It starts out that the speaker of the crime plan will focus on the following effort: violence and crime, public order, corruption, community safety, territorial integration, crisis response to resilient justice, cyber defense, critical infrastructure protection, and number 10 is the economic security. If you go over into the working page, Jeffrey Tavares, I'm not seeing 1 and 2. Public order, main agent, JCF, ITA, TA, I'm not sure what those are, the acronym I'm going to look, municipality authority, national NSWMA and national. It doesn't say the people. It's agencies making the change. When the very agency, the Jamaican people, and it does not say as part of the thing, our international partner, the Diaspora. These are the agency. They're working with themselves to solve their own situation without trying to get anybody else. Under it, it says that to improve road use and speeding, bus and taxi, tackling a point system for sanitation, cutting out noise, looking at the market and vending, town city access and orderly
Go
flow
about that
of.
thing.
I'm telling you, it never includes the people that it affects. It's always a theoretical. Look here, if you really want to be, if you really want outcome, you have to target communities and look at the culture. And within the culture, you start to look at how it affects people. It's a conversation that you have. So in participatory learning actions, you would start off with the problem tree. You look at the root cause, you look at the effects, and you look at the outcome, then you look at the solution. You have to, you see, because on another program, Jeffrey, Dan Anderson said to you, 7.5% of Jamaica said they have no problem with corruption.
Yes.
Because the institution of government has failed the people significantly, that anywhere a man can eat a food, him go eat a food. You understand, Jeffrey? That is the mindset that we need to get out of Jamaica. That, look here, it has to be collective security for surety. We have to see Jamaica as a company and all of us working towards it. But it must also recognize that the people themselves have solutions to fighting their own crime into the larger planning. They weren't at the table for 2030. They weren't at the table for this.
Lou?
You correct him?
We have lost Lou. You know, we have been at it from about 8 o'clock this evening, Mr. Rattigan.
Yeah.
And I think it's time for us to give our closing remarks. Or you want to continue? No, I think it's time for us to give our closing remarks. Tomorrow is another day.
Yeah, boss, you know, so.
We have lost George because of the internet issue here. Oh, there he is. He's back up here.
Yeah. But if you look at it, and I'll be happy to share it with you.
Go ahead.
If you look at it, let us look on one called justice. The main agents that they are going to be working with is the Ministry of Justice, the
Ministry of Injustice.
Again, me, Livia, you, and Olivia. All right. The AG department, the JCF, MOCA, the courts. Before the parliamentarian took a large salary increase, did you realize that the judges in Jamaica got a large increase, but nobody spoke about it?
Right.
And yet still a judge took a man from Montego Bay in his own chamber that was being prosecuted under several gun running and free that man, you know. Let that man go and them can't catch him. And we don't hear that judge was booted from the court. The courts in Jamaica have so many cases and people feel like them get very little bit of justice, so them just go to people for go deal with a matter. Access to justice, lock up and remand, reduce the time for case management. This is what they're saying. Using technology. They have not defined what they're going to use the technology for, and witness protection. I love that one, yeah. Will Rattigan, where are we going to have a safe, effective witness protection when some of the people who are supposed to be in law enforcement are some of the biggest criminals, and we can't even, them don't start out by saying cleaning up the military, you know. getting
the JCF.
charging Rocky Mead and members of the JCF for carrying out atrocity against the Jamaican people. So
Well,
we will never.
Me think you say you still live at Jamaica.
Yeah, we still live at Jamaica, but
within the statement.
yeah, but
hold on there. Hold on there.
But
Hold on
Jeffrey, if you read this now, do you really think anything is going to change?
Mm-mm.
But hold on there. You said something a while ago. And this is why I know the Jamaican people do not take crime seriously. When you have Ambassador Plentiful, is Ambassador what again, Rattigan?
Plenipotentiary.
Plenty who?
Plenipotentiary.
So what that stand for now?
I mean, him can't do just about anything on behalf of Jamaica.
So that's why he commit the atrocities in Tivoli Garden.
Well, him get position
atrocity
after.
of assassinating Keith Cladd and Jamaican silent come out of it. Oh.
No, you know what? Look, God, the thing that you just read. I mean, you're right. I am convinced that you have some brilliant people in Jamaica. I mean, a lot of brilliant people, but they're not given the space to develop and do the sort of things that would display the brilliance of the country. Right? You have individual brilliance, but in terms of brilliance of the country, we don't see that. And that's because they're suffocated, right? So that's why you have a Minister of National Security. When you read the stuff that they put out, a lot of it, when you read it, it makes perfectly good sense. But when you talk about implementation, if they implemented a quarter of the things that they talk about, Jamaica would be a much better place. And I'll say it again, there's a gentleman there by the name of Rowan James. And people believe me, I know good people when I say good people. This man, Rowan James, this man should at the very least be a top advisor to the police commissioner.
Here.
And the prime minister and the minister of national security. And that's not if they don't give him the position as police commissioner. No, that man is a dedicated, competent, intelligent.
Who is that?
Rowan James.
Federation guy.
Yeah. Listen to him. The man have a spine. The man is the man. I like him. It would be my pleasure to work with him to deal with the crime problem in Jamaica.
But Wilfred Rattigan.
Yeah.
You
and the kids are dead now. Them not gonna promote him now, right?
You believe that Twiddly Dum Dum.
Who's that?
You know who Twiddly Dum Dum is? You believe
Doctor, you're calling Dr. Chang.
Dr.
Chang.
Dr. the Most Honorable Harris Chang.
Okay.
You still live there, no look, Judge. Make you.
Minister of National Insecurity. And the Godfather for St. James.
The Godfather.
You believe that he's going to give Rowan James or the dumbest of the dumb Commissioner of Police?
Well, look
you
here, Jeffrey. I don't think they're gonna give Rowan, but I think the people of Jamaica should fight for an appointment of Rowan James and a Will Rattigan as consultant to come up with a strategy of fighting crime. We should have fought when they were running Greg Christie out of the country, because he is one of them who had fortitude of testicular and wanted to stand up to the powers that be, and now that he's back and notice that they're taking punch at him. I'm glad the guy has more spine than the whole of them put together in Parliament. I just wanted to read your community safety to improve local infrastructure and to access service, fire emergency response and health, police service and conflict resolution, build community leadership and organization, local disaster committee, neighborhood watch, police youth club, unplanned community and informal settlement, social worker to intervene and to as interrupter and to provide counseling, donation and support. This will be carried out. The main agent is the Jamaica JCF, Jamaica Fire Brigade, the Social Commissioner, the Ministry of Housing, the
Listen to me.
Ministry of Education,
Luke.
the Ministry of Justice,
Luke.
ODPM. But again, it says
Luke.
that one must give more money. Let us prostitute the diaspora, give more money, but we don't even want them to be a part of the development. And let me tell you something about that quickly, but more I said this, Jeffrey, before I forget the part. All of these ministries, I'm living in Jamaica, and hear me loud and clear, you're all failures. Because we can take and look at your track record of producing, and look, again, it doesn't start off by saying we will facilitate corner talks with youth and get their input in how communities must be run safe. A man called Dudus had more control over Jamaica security than any minister did. Not that I'm lauding it, but you could go down to Tivoli and get robbed and get back your things. You can go to a police station and report a robbery, and them tell you, say, go on in your yard. Try start over.
It was better than that. You go down to Tivoli, you don't get robbed.
You don't get robbed.
Right.
So it tells you the inactions of those that are in power. But I would like.
Go to Tivoli and get beaten.
He should. Because he has disappointed the people of Tivoli Garden. For somebody who says that he came from the bowel of the poor, and he was part of the massacre that killed those very same poor people who put him there, he should let him come after me for saying that. He is one of the better yard slave that has benefited.
Desmond Mackenzie.
Oh, you mean the
man
who play music on Sunday?
Yeah, man, Deadman Mackenzie.
He should.
That Desmond is dead man.
He sold out the people of Tivoli Garden to make sure that he became a Ramanant. When he oversee under his administration the massacre of the very people back for which he stood up to get where he is. Should. Remember, Jamaica used to refine them oil. It's not a liquor country that never did have nothing, Rattigan.
I drive the Jeep. Oh, Father God, no, me baby.
Well, so Rattigan, what would have been good is that we come up with an action plan towards tackling crime. And I think that the committee that is headed up by Dr. Thing should really come up with some Jeffrey, stop laughing, man. Dr.
Francis
should really come up with something to counteract this.
Oh God.
I'm glad I'm making you night, Jeffrey. glad I'm able to make you laugh. Still not get that number, I know. My brethren still want to talk about that.
Marvin.
Alright.
I heard that dudes beat Desmond Mackenzie and broke his hand.
Look here. The informal leadership of Jamaica has a lot to add to it, because they now also are very frustrated with the political parties and the political leaders.
I don't know who drives the Jeep though.
Well, me not the least bit interested. But what happened? As we sit on
if you know what Jeffrey had talked about, you that did laugh.
So I don't know where I'm going with it, but we can't laugh about it. Right? So I don't know where I'm going with it. But look, Ratty, it's serious. It's serious, and it can get serious, man. Oh, Jeffrey, stop laughing, man. We know where you're going with that, Brother,
I know you know where I'm going with it. I know you know.
Brother, I can't deal with that right now, because we need for some humor, but
Oh, Father, but hey, you can't come on this program
But
every day, you know. I'm
I'm
gonna
be
have high blood
serious.
pressure, heart problem.
So next thing, if we were talking about it, um, if we were talking about it earlier on, we should have did bring in the chandelier swinging.
Oh
That
Jesus! You mean the one? You mean the one that say, "Bring me pain and burner"?
right? We should have brought in the chandelier swinging and the cages and all of the other things that they use as paraphernalia, and that them have the video and it only showed to certain people. That's the hypocrisy of Jamaica. That people are there were a certain man in government who they knew were taking liquor boys to his house, caging them and bringing other people there for their satisfaction, and them have the evidence, but some man know it and them use it accordingly. We are being underserved. We are being underserved by the people who lead us, and it's unfortunate. And I think, Rattigan, I am dead serious. Let us stop talking and put our policies together. Let us
Right.
share it with the Jamaican
You
people.
see,
Let us give them an alternative.
the
To
only thing, the only thing, and I agree with you, but I just wonder if it's because we know that the government is not going to adopt anything that we once they see that it's coming from somebody outside their circle, they're not going to pay attention to it. And I understand what you're saying. Well, we can share it with the people at large, right? And that's why I think mine is a little bit different, because mine is going to the courts, mine is doing PR, and mine is doing background investigation on them.
all right. So
So, but
we take that and we break it down. Every community have community groups that they don't know that there are other people. As I said, since the program, yours, Jeffrey, Lonesome, Andre, more and more Jamaicans are turning into
here,
these programs.
right here is something. Sorry to interrupt, but here's breaking news. Right here is something, Jeffrey, that and you're gonna shake your head when you hear this. There's a second supplementary estimate to the budget, because people think that the budget is etched in stone, that you can't. Eh? Can't hear you.
Unmute your mic, Jeffrey.
You want me to run the breaking news?
No, well, on a second. Well, I know. What me says that no. Well, on it. What me says that people tend to think that the ordinary Jamaican, I think, by and large, think that okay, when the budget is read, then that's it. They don't understand that you can have supplement. You have supplement to the budget where they come like 3-4 months later and say we need more money, right? And then they add to whatever that budget number is. That number is going to increase. Now, here's something, Jeffrey, that I think you're gonna like. Well, you're gonna like it. When I say like, I'm just being facetious.
Yeah.
This is a second supplementary estimate. The Governor General's office is getting a raise from 441 million to 490 million.
What?
Yes.
To do what? To drive around and yam?
He has a big appetite, I guess.
So you're saying to me that the ceremonial Gigi we have in this country, who one man go pick Aki off of the tree and he nearly prison him, get a raise of how much?
Months in prison.
Might get 50 million more, approximately 50 million more.
While they need a CT scan.
They need
CT
more
scan.
than one.
They need more than one CT scan around this country.
The type 4 clinics needs better facility and more equipment.
This is the thing. This is the thing with the Jamaicans and we are come on the platform and not criticize. But this is the thing that them should have looked on and not criticize. This.
Right. So we're giving somebody more for doing nothing for us, because the position just means that you represent the crown.
You know what? One quick second. You know what? I like the way you put that. When you say that we're giving somebody more for doing nothing. Because some people say we give him more for doing less. But you're absolutely right. We're giving him more for doing nothing.
Nothing. Ceremonial head. And as a man who was the president of the Adventist Church, see, absolute power corrupts, because when you look at a starving country and even your organization wanted to charge Shaggy for sparking at King's House, and them would pay only the money. So even your organization was trying to tax Shaggy for doing something. Shaggy has done more good for Jamaica than the Governor General has. So he should be Governor General of Jamaica. I would give him, because I'm sure he would have taken that. additional sum of money.
Oh, and here's another thing to Windalco. They get a $10 million blight. Their levy to the Jamaican government has been reduced by 10 million.
Sure.
You believe that?
Yeah, of course. Everybody.
I mean, I'm just being saying it incredulously.
Everybody who have contributed to the success of the party will be paid. The party is going to make sure that them keep them loyalists. That is why the people them I say the Jamaica Labour Party have higher pocket than the PNP. So everybody is being paid, and this is why Rattigan. There is no truth to it that Jamaica is a poor country. The money just circulates within the confines of the Vumvava and the Vumvavi. And the people, the 75% of Jamaicans who go to vote from the place where you live, this is why we need to have a heart-to-heart conversation with them. Because me no believe that we should have there fight for them when the evidence is clear in front of them. They are never going to get a pay there. They're going to get more imprisonment, more hardship, more police curfew, more police disrespect. JDF man disrespect them. Imagine a man go in a house in a Craigtown, go see a JDF officer have sex with him baby mother, and the rest of them colleagues them beat the man and broke him ribs. That them out there deploy fucker them say them out there waste them time. So why not have some fun? And you don't hear JDF, you don't hear the higher rank and file people them up at JDF. I say our officers can't conduct like this. Everybody will be given an honorary discharge. You have a youth with them licking off a bike, and his mother just had to fight to find $1 million for buy the pin and to do the things them, and that matter is currently before the court. So keep on supporting on a party. When una get no pay there, true them no pay me not for talk for them.
But not only that, Luke, you have members of the JCF and members of the JDF who's driving around vehicles that are not licensed or insured. And when they look up in other people's vehicle, nothing come out of it.
I have more taxi and bus on the road. I want body up. So hear what me say, continue for pay on the Governor General, more poverty for the 75% of us, equiparate to the 25% who are still enjoying the comfort and the wealth of this country. So when the repatriation money come, we're not going to know, so we're not going to be poor, nigga poor. Good luck to every Jamaican who still believe in our party. Me not believe in a none. Good people for stand up now. I want to see like the American system where you can go in a polling station and put a Wilfred Rattigan on the ballot. So you get the understanding that people don't want to know, but them can't do any better. Maybe that's why them do it.
Look, George, what do you think about the UIC, who until now hasn't named
the UIC is not a party. It's an ideology of a man who has an ideal.
It's a scamming shop.
I don't know. I'm not going that far. Is that him coming like many others who basically have an idea, but the idea is not realistic. And truly, what he should be doing is trying to at least win one seat if he want to be taken as a viable third party. Jamaicans must get out of the mindset that the two diatribes are ever going to care for them. They must look into their community and encourage people to go out as independent, or ask people outside of Jamaica who loves this country to make themselves, put up themselves and them support them. Stop sell out and vote for Corrigan and 5,000. But if you not have to do it in this upcoming election, make sure if them not give you 250 because it takes 600,000 to go across the border. If you them not give you 250 for help them to get a winning start, for get a better quality of life, don't even listen to them. Run them. If they get $5,000, make sure you buy some food put in the house, because this can't hold. Brethren and sisters, this can't hold no more. This level of poverty and suffering that I'm seeing, Jeffrey, is not reassuring hope. It's not reassuring hope. The 700 pitney them when I go back to school, well, we don't know if them go join any gang, We call themselves fully done, It's still out there, and the authorities can't account for them. And we don't hear that in any big national debate. But you can give the Governor General office $59 million more when you have young people going back to school this year and don't know how they're going to pay a fee. Not talk about the UIC, not talk about the NDM. In fact, I would encourage the UIC, the NM, and the Garvey party to come together and try win 4 seats. Just that.
No,
When
but
I ask a question, how do we get this message, right? Because we talk about a lot of things tonight. How do we get the message on this platform? How do we get it to this fully dons and other people? Because I mean, you know, Dr. Lennon, John said quite a few times. He said, "Listen, we're not reaching the mass of the people. We're not reaching
John, as my cat, them a play behind me. Because them know them not get no feeding tonight. You have to have something called corner talk, John, where you get at least 2 sound. And we are going to have a sound clash. But before the sound clash, we are going to have a discussion where we man and man for come. Them are going to bring them own drink and we are going to talk about what we can do, what we can do. And after that, the clash must be about who can come up and DJ about something that was said inside of the clash, so it becomes a lyric, and that lyrics now must play out in every community household. It's a people's movement, John, that we have to start from the bottom. So we have to go in and we have to organize single mothers in what is called a woman movement. We have to organize the man them in what is called the collective security for surety, and we have to use what the people will listen to. The people will listen to the music, so we're going to put it in the music. We're going to get somebody on our team who are going to organize some simple things like for your community, we do it, all hands on deck, and develop some slogans, and we're going to have some shirt that says prideful Jamaican because we are fighting for Jamaica. And every time we go out there, we are wear them shirt there. Eventually, when they see it in their mind eyes, there's a beautiful project going on right now, carried out by a guy called um Life Child, when I go down at Tivoli and I paint up the whole of Tivoli with murals. So, and the title of it, preserving this, beautifying the space, preserving life, seeing art expressing how we feel. It is so profound and powerful when you go down there and you look at those murals. Those are the things that are not getting support. It might look as if it don't really make a difference, but just imagine me driving through Tivoli the other day and I had to just stop. I was so fascinated by how the place was just being painted and how it looked nice. And I stopped and I said, Brethren, we have to do this in every community.
John Zapatello say he's in.
All right. So the thing is that we organize these sessions. We use the same DJ them, and we go down there and we go have a soul to that. You see, if you carry a man like Bounty Killer and you can get him to buy into selling your message, let them sell it. People are gonna listen to them. Are we have to do it? Are we the people have to do it? We're not gonna say burn down Jamaica House, burn down King's House. How we gonna do it? And it starts with your responsibility as a citizen, your right as a citizen to express your responsibility to ensuring that nobody else come and brainwash you. Because every 5 years them come promise you prosperity when them all them get poverty and prolonged poverty, and them come out and them look better, right? So it have to start the Sarati. It have to start with you going back to school and the young boy them a run up because them a hear something different.
Right.
It can't be the same voice I go in at the school, go tell them the thief them where the young people them know so them a thief. Majority of the young people were Dan Anderson tell him said them not believe in a none of the two parties. So it has to take your voice, Jeffrey voice, Peter voice, Freedom voice. All of us have to make ourselves available to God, have that talk with people. Come on, let us use the tool and see if we can get for organized Jamaica. Already, me telling you, start the foundation for start the foundation for redevelopment and economic growth and justice in the diaspora, and run it between Cornwall, Middlesex, and Surrey. And we broke it down. We can send you a list of every community leader that SDC did give me when me did listen to them lies. And we go back and we re-engage those people. The people need to see something positive happening now, and them dying for new leadership.
Let me ask this question. Just came up in my head. If you believe in Jamaica, we have 3 counties, Cornwall, Middlesex, and Surrey. if we had a system where local government money stay in local government, but central government money still help, just like the American system, you believe that we'll be having so much hospitals don't have any things in there? I
Look,
hope my question makes sense.
hold on there. Look, if the priority was to serve the people, then you would want to think that KPH would be the hospital of choice for an Andrew Holness. Because look, if you listen to my mother generation, them used to tell us that KPH was one of the nicest hospital back in the days. Now KPH has become a concentration camp because man can't just go to a hospital. Although you have a police force at KPH, man can't just go in at the hospital and go kill you. Them have that system there. The truth of the matter is that if there was a love for the Jamaican people, you would want to equip the KPH with the security. You have the soldiers, you have the police, and you also have a private security firm that the government train and dispatch them. You want to have a 3-tier security system in all of these facilities. You want to make sure that you have the best equipment to serve the people. But if you were really working on behalf of the people, your type 4 clinics would be retrofitted, that only the emergency cases are transferred to the major hospital because the type 4 facilities can deal with it. Then you could look at a thing now where you have what is called a national insurance in this thing where you call need, where you dole out so much money, which is a jury system. Why you never take the national ID where come from Curacao that is closer to you, that basically take you in from 13 and give you a national ID and say, look here, we are going to give you a medical record, is going to be loaded on it. But not only that, it assess the capability of the national, whether or not he or she can afford good health care, and then give you a national insurance that guarantee you that it will take care of your medical expense. Inside there now, your social workers would be so geared now to look at your social things. So if it is housing, if it is food, if you are disabled, they would have the means of doing it. So, Jeffrey, we have not had that national discussion as to who I am as a Jamaican and what is my worth. And until we have that realistic conversation and the Jamaican people get out of the Stockholm syndrome that they are plagued with, that the PNP or the JLP is going to render to us what we need to survive, then it is a joke. But this thing I could have gone and gone, but it's solution time, and put me upon a committee. Me can't do this. Put me upon a committee and give me the driving force to go out there, go start do the engagement. Something me know me good at. Me can't do the talking.
Yes, Wilfred Rattigan. And I know I just got a message from the goodly gentleman of the junior position spokesperson on foreign affairs and foreign trade.
Yeah.
He was asking if we're still, and I said yes.
We are cut out now, man.
But I think it's time for us to get wrap up, because we don't
Freedom.
want our wives to crick our necks.
No, I know that may worry about, but Freedom, we can do the competition. Just tell me where you want the competition to look like. And what we say if we can do that. But Jeffrey, the work is left up to our generation. Let's do this to the Jamaican people. Deliver to them victory. We can do it. Rattigan,
yeah, man, take yourself.
Rattigan take them on and them down here, as them would have said, piece up them pants. Because when me hear the statement, then when me know that people are worried. And it shows the value of the lawsuit and the amount of work that was put in there. When the man present him thing, nobody is refuting it. Nobody is questioning it. They are now running to find help. And them running to people like them big friend, them big criminal lawyer friend, to ask him how to mitigate against this and which judge it must probably go before, so it might be strike down. The people are watching, and we are not going to have it. Let the man have him there in court. Let him present the evidence. Uno must judge on the argument that is set there and the precedents that have been put in law. Follow the law and deliver to the Jamaican people.
Well, let me tell him something. She has dug herself in a deep hole now, because What we did, she said she never get no gift and she never get no benefit, and it was the government, and we put out some new requests under the access to information, and we already have some responses refuting everything that she said. They're not supporting her because they knew them support her. Them will come on a scrutiny for provide documentation, so they're not supporting her right now. The other thing is that it not really matter who them select as a judge, because we are committed to taking this all the way, if possible, to the the Caribbean Court of Justice. No, the Privy Council. I don't know the Privy Council would listen to this criminal matters, but because this is civil, who knows? Maybe there's some aspect of criminal law involved in it. But the important thing to note is that if them should rule against us, despite overwhelming evidence that she committed a crime. And I'm saying that not allegedly. She committed a crime by not complying with the regulations under the Financial Administrative and Audit Act, right? Which was to notify the relative notify the relative agencies that she received this gift of services, that she didn't do it, and she was supposed to do it. And the law is there for everybody, right? It is my contention that she committed this crime. But if you notice, the lawsuit wasn't about asking the judge, put her in a prison or do this or that. The lawsuit is basically saying, Judge, here's the evidence. And all we want you to do is look at the evidence and tell us that she didn't file and she should have filed. That's it. Not asking to punish her. We're not asking for punish her, but we're willing to take. We believe so strongly in this. We believe so strongly in this that if we get an adverse ruling, we're going to appeal. It's that simple. And that in and of itself is gonna further put fear into them, because they've never seen anything like this. And as I've said before, this is just the beginning of the beginning. This is the beginning of the beginning, because we're just starting.
So this now vindicate why you never get the work, and because you're not qualified. Right.
Them could have said that, brother. Yeah, if you come here, we know what we're gonna do. We know what we're gonna do.
Come bro, the grave.
Yeah, and then I bring my own team. Some of them are Jamaicans, but them not be holding to nobody in Jamaica. And I bring people from Europe, I bring people from Africa, I bring people from Asia, I bring people from North America. And then people is just wanting them know for do. Follow the evidence. That's all them know for do.
Well, you know what? Make them follow the evidence and help for come up.
But by the way, Wilfred Rattigan,
Yes,
I get to understand that Mr. Portland will demit representation politics when the next general election is called as his last time running.
You mean Daryl Vaz?
Yes.
That he'll run one more time?
And that's it.
No, he might run one more time.
I don't believe that. No. No.
I can't believe it.
No.
No, man, I can't believe it, man.
He said this before,
Quit while you're ahead.
He said this before,
Quit while you're ahead.
But then you hear what Jeffrey said.
He said it before.
Look at Jeffrey. Jeffrey, you still like how the US now vex with them? Quit while you are ahead.
Problem. Then I'm gonna tell you,
this would be a good time for to ask why you did take with them visa. Because the Jamaican government has never said to the people why the visa were taken away. We tell you about diplomatic discourse. Them take them visa, the Jamaican government never asks nor tell the people, because it's on a need to know basis. We the people can't go to the US government because they are beholden to the government. But neither the leaders of the opposition has ever come out and said, why? Let me tell you, Jeffrey, this have more ramification for them. We are going to suffer now. But if the US government start talk, what them have under all of them.
But hold on a second. Look, George. You're absolutely correct. It has no ramification for them, because you know what happened? There's something called the International Corruption Unit operated by the FBI out of Miami. We have jurisdiction over the Caribbean. I mean, I guarantee you, say, enough of them cases are going to run out of that office there. And you think it's just take a visa. No, people
Okay.
will go to prison.
Okay.
People will go to prison. So
Okay.
Gentlemen,
yes,
Jeffrey,
Jeffrey.
me know me not got prison. But
it is time for us to say good night on this program here. But
Yeah.
join me tomorrow. I will be live for part 2 of the cover-up of the sex shop. That is at the Statius Golden High School.
You need to ask.
But the principal is covering it up. Huh?
You need to ask Mr. Rattigan if him can help the lady with her defense fund. Because she's not going to be able to afford it. They're going to make her laughing stock in court.
We're still waiting on some things. Hopefully, I'll keep checking the mail. Hopefully, we'll have some good news tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'll keep you posted.
The lady needs a good defense fund like a Wilfred Rattigan who can go in and do the investigation. In fact, I would love to see if a Rattigan team could be the independent group that is selected to go in and carry out the investigation.
Yeah, make people know what.
If you're afraid of fish, you won't. If you're afraid of fish, you won't. I'm dead. I'm dead.
No, you make people know can't sleep, you know. You make people know can't sleep.
Yeah,
no, what that principal at that school must not sleep. That principal at the Statius Golden High School must not sleep.
But Jeffrey, she's not sleeping. She know you have goat mouth. So look, what I say, the lady needs an independent team of Wilfred Rattigan finally train people to go in and do the proper investigation. I'm also worried about children that might have been molested by this teacher.
I am getting information about this by the PE teacher now.
Right. And the other women who it is alleged that this teacher might have sexually assaulted, we need to know what is the correlation between him and the senior teachers, why they have not come out and condemned this action, or they're waiting for the courts to have the matter heard in court. But the other part of it, if she does not get the support financially to support her case, she don't have a bulldog lawyer like a Wilfred Rattigan. I can tell you, they can send somebody in there like a Peter Champagne or the other one downtown, the 1,000 guy, and trust me, she won't have standing. You need somebody with standing who can go in there and go litigate that matter for her to get her the justice that she's crying out for. I don't believe this woman is mad to just make up a story, but I also believe that the gentleman have a side, but it is largely purported that this sexual molestation has gone wide. It has gone widespread over the years, and people are aware of it. And people must stand up and talk. Come on, Jamaican man. At time we put our mouth for something positive. Stand up for justice, man. Because the reason why this are going so long is because we turn a blind eye. Too much blind eye people in Jamaica now. Stand up for justice, man. See me there. Rattigan and Tavares have me out here upon the nozzle them. Come the probably not get back a visa, so Rattigan, I forgive me something. Rattigan, I forgive me something. If it's even a cut piece of green can't give me, but I'm allowing my voice to be heard. Look here, man. We're all good people. Good people, we stand up, man. Support the funds. Support Jamaica, love Jamaica land we love. Let's stand up for justice. Let us get into some good trouble. Because I don't know if them lock me up. I can't ratify my liar.
No worries, my brother. No worries.
As what the late John Lewis always said, if you ever get in trouble, get in some good trouble.
Good trouble. Good trouble.
Yes. And I'm going to say this tonight also that remember to share this YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And remember, join me tomorrow for part 2 of the cover-up of the sex club that is going on at the Station School in high school by the principal. She's covering it up. And she must not sleep. Until you hear my voice again on behalf of my good friend Wilfred Rattigan and Luke George Cook, I am Jeffrey Tavares saying thank you and may God bless you and may God bless Jamaica land we love.
Bless up.
Rattigan a signal the plane where you had to drive the jeep. But no way you not go with that, you know. No way you go with that. You have a lot to answer to God for Tavares.
Who, me?
No, will show a signal the plane.
No,
And you drive the
jeep.
My brother, yeah, send me that number. Let me get that brother here, cause this man
you know what? Me just send it. Yeah, Jeffrey, forward it to him.
Yeah, he sent it to me by mistake.
Yeah, I sent it to him. Yeah, send it. Sorry.
Yeah, all right, my brother. Wanna signal, right. I wanna drive the jeep.
Jeffrey tell you, me know Jeffrey tell you. From
I didn't
no, me
know, man.
Me know I did what. Me know I want, but me just don't want to go there, so.
Jeffrey tell you. Jeffrey tell you, man. Anyway, I'm going to run you, I know. So
all right, all the best, everybody. Talk to you all tomorrow. Luke, we'll talk. Thank you all very much for coming on. And, you know, don't give up. Don't give up. For all those cares who has been our concern, the work goes on, the cause endure, the hope still lives, and the dream for a better Jamaica shall never die. Have a good night, everyone. Like, share, and subscribe, and join me tomorrow for part 2 of the great discussion of what is going on at the Station School in high school. I'm Jeffrey Tavares. Have a good night, everyone.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk.
Do you need graphic design services? Or maybe you need branding for your business? How about multimedia production services? Contact Browns Media and Graphics at 876-877-1870. Browns Media and Graphics, developing your ideas, creating your style.